Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the podcast.
This is Knitting Good Yarn. My name is Jackie.
I'm Carmen, and we're coming to you from Southern Ontario in Canada.
With a nitty, very chatty, even more chaotic than usual.
You know what? Can we really say it's more chaotic than usual when it's pretty chaotic all the time? Like, I don't know if it's going to be more chaotic than usual.
Oh no,
if we never actually have one that's not chaotic.
Of course, there's escalating levels of chaos.
Yes, that's true. I feel like it's going to be equal to our normal.
Maybe chaotic is not the word, but both Carmen and I woke up this morning. You know how do you ever have this experience where you wake up and you're like, oh no, like the adulting can't happen today?
Yes.
Or you have like tasks that you're like, I need to like get this done. And you wake up and you're like, today is not the day. I don't have the capacity.
It's true. Well, I had one of these days. I even posted it on Instagram that yesterday. So this is my normal. Like, I'm like, nah, I don't want to do this stuff. And then yesterday I was like, no, I'm going to do it. I let myself knit. I like had my tea and then I set myself these hour blocks. Like I put a timer on and I was like, do stuff for an hour. And then I came back to knitting and then I went back and I got all this stuff done. But so now
you used knitting like a carrot?
Oh yeah, 100%.
So it's like, what did you get done?
But usually all I do is the carrot.
I'm also very bad at it.
I eat the carrot first all the time and I don't get the other stuff done. It was stuff like repotting. These guys right here, you can't see them, but I repotted some plants.
Yeah.
They were in too small, and every time I watered them, I'd be like, I know you need more. I know you need more space. But it's like, that stuff, cleaning my closet.
Like errand things.
All the just stuff.
The little things.
Yeah.
I feel like that for me, the little things don't get done. Like if there's a big thing, like let's say like in my garden, I'm like, okay, I need to take all of the rose hips off of my roses if I want like a second bloom. And because it feels like a big task because I have to, my garden's not even that big, but it feels like a big task because it's like, flowers. I have to like get the gloves and wear the right things and have to like eke around all of the thorny places and like one by one, like take out the rose hips, which are what the blooms become, which signals to the plant like, we don't want to make more blooms, but I'm like, please bloom again. So you have to like cut the little hips off. Like something like that. Like, because it's like a large task, I'm like, I shall conquer that. But like the little things, like, oh, should I clean up my inbox or should I organize my knitting needles?
Return something. Yes.
Oh God.
Yes.
Yeah.
Knitting needles, the ones where I don't know, like I don't put them back into the case. I put them on my table and then I need them back in the case for the next time I need knitting needles. But then it's like, that just takes 5 minutes, but I can't.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
Yeah.
Or like making returns.
I also think that there's like a certain amount of like, I have a gas tank for those kinds of like linear, like organized activities. And like you and I, for any of you who have ever been here before, like linear organized is like not our natural state.
No.
So I feel like our capacity to be linear and organized, it's kind of like,
it's already
I have 1 hour and then I have to like recharge my knitting and then I have another hour and then I need to recharge my knitting.
Well. Yeah. Because when you try to do it all, right? Like it's like, oh, I'm not going to do that. And then I just like kept putting it off. I congratulated myself so much that I even took a picture and was like, look at me, everyone. I'm just so satisfied. I really felt very accomplished. But I actually still have a massive amount of things on the to-do list that I just ignored.
Well, to-do lists, they multiply. They're like rabbits.
Yes. And some of them never get done.
Stops. Just never
Some things I just let go. They never, ever got done.
Has anybody completed their to-do list, like completely completed? Because if you do, we evidently need advice in the comments.
I bet you there are people out there, they're like, yeah, like that's every day. Chick, 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 chick. I bet you every single day there are people out there that like just get the whole thing.
But is that because they're writing lists of things that they're going to get done today, as opposed to like lists that we're going to get done forevermore? Like I feel like there's never a time where I'm like dusted, like I have completed everything that I need to complete.
Because human life continues,
exactly.
Right? So and there are tasks that constantly, like you finish it. Like if you make dinner, you're like, yeah, I made dinner, but I still have to make breakfast tomorrow. Like like it's like there's never, you're never done with like the task of cooking.
So really what I'm learning here is that the technique for feeling accomplished is to write yourself. It's the skill of writing the to-do list.
Yes.
It's like
putting good things on
the to-do list or like keeping it short.
Yeah.
We are a knitting podcast. Did we
Yes.
say that?
Hello. We are not a time management podcast.
No, as you can tell, we are a Please Help Us with Time Management and Organization podcast.
This is not the first time we've asked for this help for those who haven't been here. So we clearly want to be good at time management. We just can't. Anyway, yes, knitting podcast, mostly knitting, a little spinning. Mm-hmm. I haven't had spinning stuff for a long time, but I want to get back into, I have all this spinning I want to do. I just have all this knitting too. It's a tough call because you have to use your hands. Yeah. You can't spin and knit at the same time, and that's the problem. Can you? I was pause. I'm do you know?
No, you can't do it. But I did, for whatever reason, it popped into my head was could you do one with your feet and another with your hands? Yeah. But obviously, does anybody know how to knit with their toes?
Well,
or spin with their toes?
People can paint with their toes.
Well, exactly. So, maybe that's the next challenge in our creative skill thing. We've tackled knitting, we tackled spinning. Next is can we do something with our feet?
That would be pretty funny. And at first I was gonna say, I promise you we will show you this if we can do it. And then I was no, I promise you we won't, because that might be really, really gross to look at. People, oh my God. If I was knitting with my toes, I don't know.
The moment that we stop recording, I'm going on my phone and searching #toe knitting. I'm sorry, and you're welcome.
Oh my God. And all the people right now watching this are probably pause.
Please pause.
Let me look this up.
I mean, there's gotta be people who can do it.
If we find it, we'll put it in the show notes.
With a big warning.
Yeah. We're about to talk. There are feet involved because I know, the thing is, feet are lovely. We will talk about knitting, I promise. But feet are lovely things. We need them so much. But some people really, 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 really don't like feet. They don't want to even talk about feet.
Yeah.
So we'll put the warning. 7 minutes in.
Ooh.
No knitting content.
Okay, hang on. There's one more piece of admin that we normally do.
Okay. The show notes and stuff.
Yeah, so we are a one-shot podcast. So we turn this thing on and when we just blather on and whatever comes out of the chaos of knitting and spinning and fiber that is around us
keeps touching me.
Comes up. And so we don't edit, and we also don't do the thing where the designer and a picture of the thing pops up. But we do show notes, and we do chapters. So if you have questions about anything that we've talked about, often we'll get excited and talk about things and forget things like the designer name or the yarn or the whatever. Generally speaking, you'll be able to find that in the drop-down bar with show notes. We also tend to blather on for 2 to 3 hours, and so we also create
I don't think we've done 2 in a year and a half.
3+ hours, and so we will segment this episode into chapters so that you have easy places to stop and start. And we also have puppies, and the puppies sometimes like to
bark for no reason.
So we do what we can to keep them happy, and that's it. If there are things that we talk about that aren't in the show notes that you have questions about, just drop them in the comments, and we do our very, very best to, often what I will do is if somebody asks about something in the comments, I'll add it to the show notes and then be it's in the show notes now, because if you're asking, you're probably not the only person asking.
Perfect.
And yeah, so.
I love it. And thank you in advance for all your wonderful comments that we never get a chance to actually respond to. We always want to, but we read every word, and one. It lights us up.
It does.
Love it.
I'm curious how your needles have been, given that I feel you're in I think of summer as a non-knitty season for you because it's so golfy.
Oh.
But I feel I'm looking at this table and I'm looking at you and I'm it feels like the mojo this year has been flowing.
It's been flowing. And our last episode, if you missed it, we did this whip down.
Oh yeah.
And that comes into play with everything. Carmen's been accomplished. Maybe that's the theme here. Yesterday I got all these things done, and I've worked on my whips.
There's been a surge.
There's been a surge.
Yeah.
Leo energy.
Do you have Leo in your chart?
No.
No, I don't think you do. And yet I
fire
feel,
sign
but I
energy.
also like feel like Leo is like home for you.
It does. It's a fire.
Yeah.
Okay, should we
Yeah,
talk?
let's talk about this amazing top.
Okay.
Carmen.
Well,
Carmen.
This is, I know. And the funny, well, we'll talk about that in a second. This is the Mount Pleasant tea.
Oh, so good.
Oh my God. Okay, so this
good.
has been in my queue for years. I don't know how long this thing has been out, actually. I could even look. I keep looking over here because Megan Nodecker, Pip and Pin Collective.
Designer. Adore.
Like, just the cutest little cap sleeve, crop. I've been wearing this with so many things, like, you know, like I had so much trouble deciding what to wear today, but it's hard because you have to like work with the other things you're gonna try on too. But little, like, you know, like a high-waisted pant, and it just sits at that perfect level.
I love how you, like if you look at the picture of it,
Yeah.
I mean,
really did it.
It's gorgeous, but it looks different on you, and I like the way that it looks different on you here.
Yeah, I was thinking the same. It's definitely more capped.
Yeah,
But
like
it's
baby
on
tee
my
vibes.
shoulders, I guess. So we've talked about kind of our different body shapes, and my shoulders kind of are very like straight across here and go bigger. So maybe that's it, because hers is, it's a little bit longer.
But I love how like, so when I walked in, I was like, Mount Pleasant tee, because this bottom scallop for me is just, it's perfection. Right. It's so beautiful. And also I didn't really realize that the color that you did it in is like similar to it. But what I appreciate about it is that it was like recognizable about them as the Mount Pleasant tee, but I love the iteration of it on you.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, so tell us more.
Yeah. Okay, so it is it's bottom up actually. So funny enough, this was, so Jackie and I, about a month ago, went to see Alanis Morissette. I don't even know if we talked about that. We won't talk about that. It's a knitting podcast, but just know.
I'm absolutely going to talk about it.
Good.
Okay.
Like that was, Joan Jett opened and Alanis Mavens just, wow. Anyway, but we live outside of Toronto, and so we were taking our like transit, like go, you know, the commuter train in, and I was in the midst of like a knitting, like I didn't know what to bring for the knitting. Did I even bring this one? I can't remember. Okay, because I was going to bring this, and I was like, I need something that's actually easy at the beginning. I needed a bottom up for what? Anyway, Carmen, doesn't matter. But
we need to back up for a second, because we chuckled about this when we met each other, like on the train. Is like, no, you texted me the day before and you were like, "Are you bringing knitting?" And I was like, "I'm absolutely bringing knitting. Are we allowed to bring knitting needles into a concert venue? Like, do I need to like switch to bamboo?" And then both you and I spent the next like 12 hours in a panic about what are we gonna bring to knit at the concert.
That doesn't need a pattern.
That doesn't need a pattern. That you know, we don't need to be on metal needles in case like the concert venue is like, this is unsafe to take into a hardcore situation.
You're gonna cause some chaos and problems here.
Like with these tiny things. But also what was hysterical I would say at least an hour of like mental space and then another hour of like casting things on, because who casts things on in process? Like you have to get it to that place.
This was it.
We did all of this because, I mean, I don't know about you. I was certain that I would not be knitting during the concert.
I thought I might be
you
knitting during, well, it was ridiculous because that's stupid.
No, it's not stupid, but I was like, we'd be there, like dancing and like singing our hearts out.
I didn't even think about all
that.
So
I wasn't thinking about actually what do I need for the concert. I was thinking about what do I need to knit on for the approximately 50-minute train ride there, like, and back where we're gonna be together. But like so critically, you can't go somewhere without knitting, and you have to have the absolute right project.
It has to be small enough that you can bring. It had all of these things, and actually that's why this one didn't make it. So I was going to cut because I needed a bottom up, because I didn't want to have to deal with all of the shaping. Because I knew I needed to cast it on, but then this one, because of the lace.
Oh, it's so good.
I was like, oh, will I know it? Will I know it? I must have gone with another one. I can't remember what it was, but that's what part of the reason was that this finally came out. Because as I say, this has been in my queue since it came out, you know what, 2017. So
7 years.
No, I wasn't even knitting then. So as soon as I was back into knitting, this came across my like world, and I wanted it, and I just never ever did it until now. And it's linked with the whip down, because in our last episode I had a shawl. One of my whips, many whips, was a shawl that was beautiful, and Nez sang
Miss Shawl.
Gorgeous Miss Shawl, so beautiful.
So pretty.
You're pointing, or did you make
I know I was pointing to express, you can look at it in the last episode, but the words didn't come out of my mouth, and I was like,
Also,
last
if
one.
you know Jackie, like I do, it's totally possible that Miss Shawl was like just sitting over there that she had just finished. So I was like, what? Anyway, we realized that I was not gonna wear this shawl shape-wise and all of this. And so during our thing, we ripped it out. Well, this was one of the colorways. And when I was looking for a thing to do, it all just came together. I was looking at other options, blah, blah, blah. And then I realized I had these, and
like you were trying to choose wool.
Choosing wool. And I was even looking at other colors, but I realized I really part of this was that.
Mm-hmm.
I just loved it, and now I have it.
It's so perfect.
Because I ripped, because I frogged, and I didn't keep going on a project that was not going to work. I got to repurpose the wool. That's ice.
Okay. I hope you didn't hear that, but this machine sound started happening behind me, and
I love that I just don't even I don't even hear it
because
anymore.
you're accustomed to it. I don't live here. I'm
That
like,
makes sense.
is there a monster coming out?
That never happened.
Oh no.
In all the time that we've been. Anyway.
So
what more do I say about this? So I did it in Life in the Long Grass, linen merino singles, I think. I did actually write it down.
Yes!
Rustic merino linen.
Oh, I gotta try it on. I have to try it.
Yes, 90% superwash merino, 10% linen. I couldn't remember this colorway. I think I looked it up, but on their site, it's either terrain or laterite. I think it's terrain. It is
so good.
It's so beautiful. It has a sheen to it, even though I guess it's the merino, because it shouldn't really with linen and
Superwash, maybe?
Maybe it's the superwash.
The way that the variegation came out is just.
And I of course did not helical knit.
You didn't? This is what.
No.
I mean, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I came out of my mouth.
do that.
I was like, what was I thinking?
But it's true, and I did almost make it with one skein.
Okay.
And then it was at the top. So actually, it would probably have been the back. Yeah, you can't see it, right? Where it would have changed. I don't even know where it would have been. Somewhere up here somewhere.
Where you changed?
Where I changed to the next skein.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. So bottom up, drop shoulder. You cut up, you knit in the round. Do the lace, then you're just stockinette up to here. It's short, right? It was a little longer than I thought. Well, I probably shouldn't say that.
Do you know what your gauge is?
I do not.
Roughly?
I realized, hold on a second.
1,
2, I can't count. 1, 2, 3, 4. I would say about 20.
20.
Maybe.
So pattern gauge, keep talking. 24 stitches and 32 rounds. Do you know what size you knit?
I knit the size 2.
Okay. Which in the pattern calls for 2. In the pattern, the sample is knit in a 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon fingering.
Yes.
And they suggest 2 skeins, 544 yards for size 2. So
Yes.
it's consistent.
Yeah.
Even at your larger gauge. You
I
still
wonder
need
if it's the
2,
larger, honestly.
Well,
I could look this up. I will look it up. When I was walking here this morning, walking over here to do things, Jackie was about to come. I was like, oh, I don't get the gauge. I should probably. And I'm like,
that's what show notes are for. I mean, I think part of the reason I'm asking is because I'm curious as to whether there's a way to do it with one skein.
Oh, I see. If you had a shorter torso, you probably.
I don't think so.
One.
I'm gonna try it on.
Oh yeah, here.
Well, thank you.
Ask and ye shall receive. So yes, you're knitting it in the round up until here. Then you're knitting it flat front, flat back. You pick up because it's drop shoulder. Oh, Jackie. See, beautiful. Oh, that is beautiful. Beautiful.
Okay, bye.
Well, we're gonna get to that then. I'll steal yours. Yeah, so drop shoulder, and then you're just picking up the stitches, and you're literally adding the ribbing right away. So you know how usually you have some kind of a thing?
Sleeve?
This was, no sleeve, just ribbing. And then you pick up the collar. Oh, and you do a 3-needle bind off. Look how beautiful the bind off. Like, 3-needle bind offs are gorgeous. It's so easy.
Oh my God.
It was a beautiful, easy, fast knit.
I also, as somebody who is I'm not very anti-purl. I don't love knitting back and forth as much as I like knitting in the round, especially like when you have a garment that is like mostly in the round, and then I like as I approach the part where I have to split for front and back, I'm like, wah, wah. Like
it's true.
It's like you only have to do a teeny tiny amount. You
do?
It's not like a giant drop shoulder like
true.
sweater where you're like gonna be back and like front and back for a while.
It's true. And you're only doing it half, right? So like your stitches are cut in half, but then you realize you're like, oh, I still have to do that back part, because you do the front first.
Or short row shaping.
No short row shaping, just
really?
Higher, you just knitting higher on the back.
Right, okay. Gotcha.
Longer. And less of than this. It is so pretty. It is so pretty. I think this wool, I would highly recommend it. It's gorgeous. I've had it for so long now. It's been a couple years when I wanted to do that mist shawl, and I'm gonna just not talk about this like I did last time, but you can just go back. Sex in a shawl, right here.
Diatom shawl. We talked about it in the last episode. And
I bought some How Nui.
You did?
Oh, I did after that. And then you gave me that beautiful skein, so I definitely need to spin so I can make this.
There's something about this color though, this like color that I'm really feeling right now.
It's so pretty.
It's good for Leo season, really.
It is. And we'll say about your thing, because we've been saying morphing into some same person when we don't even know it. Like we showed you we're wearing same colors, and talk about what just happened.
I actually cast this on like last week. In
it's
a different
from 2017.
colorway. Yeah.
It's not like there was anything that was a new.
No, but I think this is the summer, at least for me, where like we
summer teas
became summer tea people.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I cast it on. Mine I cast on in black.
Ooh.
But I think, and I'm like about here, but now that I have seen this one, I think I might rip out my black one.
Yeah.
And go a different direction with it.
Black is beautiful. Does it have any kind of like, is it black? Or does
It's
it have
the black, it's the black from
the linen. Fleece and flax.
Fleece and flax from Sonia Urenco, which I knit a very baby black tee in it, but I only have one skein, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna like see what's gonna happen.
I have a little
and I don't
extra.
think that I'll make it. And also, as I try this on and I like looked at it, I wear a lot of darker colored pants, and so now seeing that on you and seeing the choice of like it plus the dress that you're wearing and seeing it on me, I'm like, oh, if my choice to knit it in black,
you won't see the lace.
I won't see the lace, so I need to revisit.
Yeah.
And the lace was so fun to knit.
The lace was so beautiful.
It's so beautiful.
It's
easy to read.
Yep. You know exactly
I'm already
where you
up
are.
here, and so it would take very little time to reevaluate. Also,
see, yours is more like, but see, this looks longer. Maybe she has very narrow shoulders, but yours
I mean, I
is
think also
definitely
it's
longer.
probably there's like an ease choice.
Sure.
Right?
That's true.
Like,
yes.
I mean, stuff looks different, but I definitely, in my head, this is still a cap sleeve.
Oh, for sure. I
Like
love
on
a
me.
cap sleeve.
Which I love.
Me too. So, yeah, I don't know if there's anything else. About US 5 needles.
Amazing.
3.75
How long did
millimeters.
it, like, was this
Not
like
long.
fast on for
Very
needles?
fast. Very fast. I've knit a lot of things in this like period of time.
Yes, you have.
I actually even have I knit another thing that you don't even know. I completely finished it, but it's a secret test knit. You have to wait. I'm not allowed. Can't say. But
Anticipation.
yeah.
Well, so I do have finished objects, but I feel like I actually want to pivot to something else, which is in thinking about sort of like summer tea choices. I mean, I basically everything summery that I've knit this year, I've knit in Sonia Urenco's Fleece and Flax, which is a 75% BFL, 25% linen blend.
Non-superwash.
Non-superwash that Melissa recently brought out. and we had the opportunity to try out sort of the first, like the test batch from the mill, and just like fell in love with the base. But now it exists in like the entire palette. So I was like, time. However, I was like, maybe I want to like experiment with different sort of like summer fibers. I've tried 100% pure silk, and I'm like, this is the most, I didn't enjoy the knitting experience, so I did not get very far. I like tried to knit one of those like spaghetti scrap tank tops, and I got like one triangle and then the second triangle, and I was like, meh. Like, it's not happening. Maybe my sister-in-law,
like my Chrysler top,
can turn this into some sort of bikini that she'll like wear out, but like this is not enough top for me, and I don't see myself getting to the point where I knit as much as I need to in order for it to actually be a top.
Totally.
But one of the things that I was exploring, because Life in the Long Grass is one of my like, in terms of their palette and their like dot, I just love everything about them. But in the like exploration around, I was looking at their offerings, and they primarily work in superwash, like, which is not something that I don't love the experience of knitting with it, right? And in any case, however, all that said, then I came across, this is a Canadian dyer, Antonella Cosy Posy Yarn Co.
Yes.
And she has existed forever, but I think for me, I just don't know why she wasn't like really on my radar, but she released, or she developed and then released this like Taylor Swift collection. I'm not a Swiftie, but the collection was just like so stunningly beautiful. And so she released the collection, and it was being offered on like all different kinds of bases. And so one of the bases that she offered is a 90% superwash merino, 10% linen, which I was like, amazing.
Yes.
So this is,
gosh,
how gorgeous is this?
Those are beautiful.
How gorgeous. So I, not knowing what I was going to do with anything, just bought one skein of everything, and then realized one cannot actually knit a garment with like one skein. And I also feel like the color play, like I wanted to knit them, all together. But
shawl.
So I have a whip. I knitted a shawl in it, which I'll show. But what I wanted to say is, it's funny how like waves of creativity come about, right? Because it's like, we didn't talk about it, we haven't talked about like knitting in a while, and somehow we ended up casting on the same tee, and then the same base, in the same not same base, but similar, right?
Well, this is 90% superwash merino and 10% linen.
I cast mine on in fleece and flax. However,
but this you're knitting with.
This I'm knitting with.
You have the same, yes.
Right, so what I was gonna say is, now that I've seen this, I want to rip out my fleece and flax one, and I would really love to try it in Antonella's yarn, which, so weird. I like cast on, I decided that I would start working with it like a couple of weeks ago, and I mean, I did not have a conversation with Antonella. I love you, Antonella, but like, it's not like we are actually know each other and are connected in some kind of way. And so I'm like knitting the shawl, I'm falling in love with the colors, and I'm like, oh my god, I would adore if I could get one more skein of it. And she just opened a pre-order. And I was like, oh my god, this is so fun. So now I'm thinking that I would love to do one of these.
The shawl?
Or this.
In both?
Like one of these.
In one of them.
One of them.
Gorgeous.
Or even, actually, this one is my absolute favorite one. Can we talk about this? This is Willow.
Is your hair.
It's so good.
It's like literally your hair in a skein. I love it.
This is the one that I was thinking like I would like a more garments quantity in it. Except I don't know what to do with myself around these kinds of blends that are like superwash and linen, because I don't like, how warm is this thing?
Well, it's less warm probably than
the fleece and flax, than the BFL linen.
That one's magical. So I don't know. That one's
very cool.
Yeah, it can be. It's hard. But yes, I think that superwash is a little bit better of an option for summer. And
I was nervous garment wise about like, blocking and how much it would stretch and like all that kind of stuff. But this is just incredible, and I want it.
So beautiful. And I will say the feeling, I agree with you that sometimes superwash has a very slippery feeling to it, but maybe because of the linen added to it. It's grippier.
Yeah, I mean, I tried a couple of things. I bought these 3 together thinking that I wanted to knit a plumpy shawl by Andrea Mowry. Oh. But when I actually started to, I cast it on and then ripped it out because like it's like I needed, there was too much light and the contrast was too high for me. Like I needed some sort of like in between. So I
ended like a Bennett sisters shawl with this.
Ooh.
I think because I like how they're like
they look
blocked.
So good together,
yeah,
right?
But, like that they're their own separate, you know, as opposed to like lots of stripes of them and stuff. So. Oh, wow.
This is a whip. It's not done yet.
Oh,
but this is. I wanted to show it because again, like sometimes we've talked about this before on the podcast. It's like we want to show you our makes as they're happening in real time, but then especially, you know, when we were like sometimes when we bring on a new to thing and people are like, oh my god, we love it, especially in terms of color, it's always like, but like you can't get it, and I was like, you can get it, friends, you can get it. So
we love when we do that.
This is the Nightshift shawl by Andrea Mowry.
Oh, I've been wanting to make this,
which I sort of modified.
The cowl I almost made. It's gorgeous.
Yeah. She has a cowl. Is the cowl?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she does. I feel like Nightshift is like one of the ones that she.
This is Shifty, right? Like the shift.
Yeah, Shifty. So it's part of the Shifty
almost
series.
Cast on the shift cowl.
Just that. And so I've knit this. It's a 5 in the So in the pattern of the I'm really glad that you recognized it because I was like, I've knit it, but I feel like I haven't knit the Nightshift in the way that most people knit it, because when Andrea knit it, she did a 5 color or 6 color, can't remember now, 5 or 6 color fade of like spin cycle. So like Handspun had a lot of color shifting.
Yeah.
But what I was aware of when I sort of had these 3 colors was I was like, I feel like I need to like add some additional ones in order to like make it a cohesive palette.
Yeah.
And so I went down the rabbit hole and Ravelry of like, you can do an advanced search. If you're using Ravelry, you can go to patterns and advanced search. And then there's like, on the side, you can do like number of colors used. Oh, so I like clicked 5 and sort of like saw what came up, and Nightshift came up like pretty early.
Yeah.
So I've added, actually ended up adding 3 colors, but mostly adding colors that I thought would set these off.
You did.
So
I love what you chose.
I'm so happy with it.
They're gorgeous.
So the what I've done, so in the pattern, and this is like in the notes, so I'm not like super giving it away, but in the pattern, Andrea Mowry like has a suggested like sequence in terms of like how to have all of your, it's 6 colors, A, B, C, D, E, F, yeah, 6. How to sort of like blend the colors, recognizing that I think she wrote the pattern for like Handspun or like sort of color changing yarn. So I sort of followed her color blending, but I've kind of gone rogue because what typically happens is in her color blend sequence is like there's a background color and then there's the blips. So for those of you who, let me talk about the pattern. This is an asymmetrical shawl you cast on here and then it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. It's mosaic knitting, so you get a color work sort of effect, but you're only working with one color at a time. This is a great shawl for those of you who, like me, have a preference for the knit because you're mostly knitting and every 4th row you have to do a purl, but it creates this little texture stitch. And so in the pattern, Andrea, basically what happens is like there's the background color and then there's the blips. And then what happens is that whatever color your blip is becomes your background color for the next one. So cool. I haven't really followed that. No, I kind of
like the way you did this.
I did it more like color blocky style because basically I just wanted to see these 3 play together. So,
but they're playing in such a cool way. Like this is so different, but the same.
But I think it's like, so Andrea in the pattern, the first section, she does a different sort of blending method of like how to choose the colors. And so she, for part of the shawl, she doesn't do that like swap where the blip becomes the background color. And when I saw it working up this way, I'm like 100% this is how I want to keep it.
It's so pretty.
So colorways, the blue is Exile.
I love that color. It's like a deep periwinkle.
Oh, it's just such a good blue.
Beautiful.
This sort of brown, like the best, is Willow. This one is, oh God, Enchanted. maybe.
That
I'm
makes
not
sense.
sure. I
feel
love
like
this
that would be
one
Enchanted.
also.
Aw.
And then this one is Snow on a Beach. So I don't know if, like, it's a huge collection, and Antonella has, like me, descended into fall. And so she's got a pre-order going on right now for the next week, where you can pre-order these colors. Like, look how beautiful. Look how beautiful.
It's so beautiful. So wait a second, this looks like a Suri?
Yes, okay, thank you. So the way that what I decided to do is, because I was not certain about the texture of this, and
Right.
I was sort of asking about heat, because in my head I was like, I want a big shawl. But in my head, a big shawl is like for fall and winter and spring.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, does it make sense to knit a big shawl in like too cool
Right.
thing? And I needed to add colors anyways. So what I ended up doing is getting, I had this Exile which is from Antonella in Suri. I was like, what if I knit the entire shawl with the background in Suri?
Brilliant.
And then the blips here, because I felt like this would actually allow me to show them together in the most, like, it's like I was like, I love this, I just want this. But as I was knitting it up in like a brioche and like a garter,
get too muddied.
it like, they were getting lost in each other, like not in a nice way.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't figure out I didn't want to do stripes. Like I just couldn't figure out how to make it work.
That's it.
But I was like, well, maybe it just becomes the contrast for everything.
It's funny because I think I had the same thought, because when I was saying the Bennett sister shawl, right? Like I'm like, they need to be standing on their own. But together. So this is a perfect way to do it.
So this one is just it's like a random skein of Suri that I had from, Emilia and Philomene in the colorway Brume, and then I'm working with a gray Suri with these little gold blips that again was just like in stash.
God.
So I got to destash some random
beautiful.
Suri.
Isn't this amazing? So this is the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
But look how different they look.
Right? That's what I also love about it. And like, again, this is one of those like designer magic things where Andrea, I don't know, like she just knows how to play with color in a really fun way. And I didn't even think about it when I was knitting it, but you know, the blues look so different, even though like from here to here, it's all the same background color, but you add a different contrast in this like really fun mosaic pattern. And I love it.
Yes.
I love it.
I love it.
I have some time to go. I don't really know what I'm going to do with the end of it, but just keep going.
What do you mean, like not finish?
Like I don't know how far I'm going to go. Like how long
Jackie's
it's
always
gonna
rogue
be.
with everything. She like doesn't do a pattern ever the way it's written.
Okay. So this is asymmetrical shawl shape challenges, right? I talked about this before being a petite person. I won't tell you what the like increase ratio is, but part of the reason why I find triangular shawls more challenging than like a crescent shaped shawl or a like
triangle
or like one of the wide triangles like the Fleur shawl and the Sunny Morning shawl by Sandra Yarn Co, where your increase ratio is different, is because like the shawl gets too deep.
Right.
So I'm actually in this place where I'm like, I don't know what to do with this shawl.
I see.
Because it's currently too short for me to wear like this.
Yeah.
But this wing is already so long.
I see what you're saying.
And I don't tend to wear shawls like with the triangle, in front. But to me, I already can't wear this shawl with the triangle in front because I'm not even done it and the triangle's like so low. And if I keep extending it, it's gonna get even longer. And like, I know I can zhuzh it up here.
Yeah.
But
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so I'm not really sure how far I'm gonna keep
is
going.
Clear that she's just gonna give it to me,
right?
That's the clearest answer.
I mean, to be honest with you, I was knitting, and then anybody do this while you're like working with your whip? You're like, I'm a little cold, but my whip is like long enough that I can. I really love it actually.
Pretty.
Just like as a cowl.
Well, this is
maybe
it.
They
have the
Nightshift
cowl.
And not knit it as like a big, like I could conceivably, you know,
Well, I
just
feel
bind
like it
off
needs a bit-
soon.
Yeah.
Like maybe like one more repeat and then have it just be like a little guy that I always do this around.
Oh, that's true. I mean, ultimately, you can always bind it off, and then just if it's
Too small,
just
then
pick
do
it
it
out. It's not
again.
that big a deal.
But
That's
I kind
really
of like
pretty.
this way,
Yeah.
like all of the colors are playing with all of the colors. So I was like, maybe
Well, it's why I liked that. I almost cast on the Nightshift
the little
Shawl one.
Yeah.
Because I loved how, because it's one of those ones where you join it, it's joined. So it just sits there
Oh.
beautifully with all of the colors all lovely. But this reminds me of like that one she has, is it like helical or something? Like anyway, she has
like
one
a
where
Mobius,
it twists,
where
the
there was
Mobius,
a
that's
twist
it.
in it. The other thing that I'm gonna say is that I like adore the feeling of Suri alpaca with this like mixed in. I have a couple of things that I've knit that like shawls that I've knit that are like 100% Suri alpaca or like close to 100%, like her satellite shawl is almost all Suri alpaca. Jackie Rose's Soho Square, I also have one that's all Suri alpaca, and it's like lovely, but I feel like I need a little more oomph on a shawl. I don't know if it's like weight or it's just Dr. Carmen looks so good. Scheming, that's the face of somebody who's scheming. But that combo, I love this combo, and I feel like I could see myself working with this combination of like Suri and Superwash together, which is so exciting to me because it will open up like all of these dyers and all of this color play. It's okay. That has not yet been sort of part of my knit palette because I haven't loved working with Superwash in my experience, but like
I don't know if I'm gonna go back after this and hear what you said.
Okay.
Because I was
have not been listening.
No.
My friends,
I think I got some of it.
is like loving friendship. It's like I'm not even gonna pretend like I was listening because I was admiring
I was
myself.
literally what I'm just dying with is this like all of these lines going like this, and I don't know if I've put it on upside down.
No.
Probably because I do that. Really?
Yeah.
I want this just
Now
like
I want it
this.
to stop actually.
Just like this.
Because the
Sits perfectly.
like color, like the blocking,
Yeah.
it's just so maybe
And
I
this
should
is
just
just
find
kind
it
of
off.
coming around here. And when you sit like this, it's just going like, don't we love this?
That was intentional. As I was making color choices, I was like, I want there to be, and it is sort of built, I think it's built into her sequence, but as I was thinking about it, I was like, I want the two sides to relate to each other. I actually got to a point in the shawl, funny that you say the Bennett shawl. So the Bennett shawl, for those of you who don't just like know all the shawls because we're obsessed with shawls like knitting and
I
all
bet
of us.
80%
I know
what we're talking about.
I see you. Those of you who are like, the Bennett shawl, it's a symmetrical triangular shawl. And I did get to a point in this knit where I thought, oh my God, rather than sort of continuing to increase so that it's this like asymmetrical triangle, I should just start decreasing. So it's this wide symmetrical, which I think that it's possible for me to, if I were to knit this again, which I would knit again because the process of knitting it is so dang fun. Like the mosaic is so satisfying and the Suri.
Oh my God.
Like I'm always looking for ways to work with my existing stash, like with all of those like single skeins, right? And I'm like, hello, this is a total like single skein project, or like to play with your skeins. But I didn't have enough of the Suri. Like I didn't have enough quantity of the Suri, which is the background, for me to make it symmetrical and have the color changes symmetrical. I was like too far, and I was like, am I gonna like it if it's a symmetrical shawl,
but different colors,
but the color changes of the background don't mirror each other? And I was like, I know myself, I'm gonna want them mirrored.
Maybe. I mean, I could imagine that also would have been nice. It just
or
makes
at
me
least
think
like,
of,
the
color blocking of things.
the part where you're turning, where the triangle is turning. I wanted that to be symmetrical, and I knew that I was like beyond that point. I didn't have enough.
Just
bind off.
Absolutely in love with this. Bind off and give it to me.
Yeah. Right, Jen? Right. You know what I was gonna say though is, I love hidden influences, like, and what I realized as I was knitting it is that I'm knitting it and I'm like, I freaking love this. I love this so much. And then I realized what I've knit is a blue heron and an owl.
Oh.
Which, for those of you, like, these are Carmen's, like, she's like, evidence! And that necklace, where's the necklace? Like, right? Like, but I'm like, man, nature has all of the color combinations that we need.
They do. It does.
And also, thank you, Antonella, for this gorgeousness.
Oh,
which I still, when I look at, it's like, I'm like, why? I don't want to knit it. Can I just like wear this as a hair?
A fascinating. Yeah. Just stick her up there. But I wanna really like applaud you, because I don't know that everyone would have seen all of these colors together and like immediately gone to it, like as working. Because they're not, well, and they're not you as much as you, I know you. These two are. Those ones, it's a little darker than, but those are you. This one is not you.
This is the one I fell in love with.
I
love this one. I was like, oh, it's so good. And then actually I wanted these two together, but I was like, I don't know. Then I saw this and I was like, but you're so pretty.
They're so pretty. But I just don't know that that's what people would have originally like been like, obviously this.
Thank you for applauding me.
It's so good.
I would say like the applause needs to go to Antonella, because like really and truly
a good dyer is like
a good dyer, and also
so
like
good.
this blue I would not have thought about doing it, but the moment I did the blue I'm like, now it's perfection.
It made it
like
perfect.
it made it happen, and that's a dyer who has a palette. And Antonella, oh my god. Okay, so
she's from Ottawa, isn't she?
Nova Scotia.
I
mean, I don't know if she's from Ottawa. She's based out of Nova Scotia now, but earlier this summer, when I was trying to be judicious with my stash, she released one of my favorite, actually probably my favorite summer fiber, which is a linen silk blend. Like it's like 65 linen, 35 silk. It's so beautiful. It's such a joy. It does like drape and grow a lot with blocking, so I need to like figure out the math around that. But she released like she called it the Lush Lino collection. And you know, when dyers release a collection, like how many colors do you think a collection is traditionally when you think about a collection? In my head I'm thinking 7, because I'm like, I was raised on Newton.
Yeah, I would say that, yeah, maybe like 10.
Antonella, her collection, which she released for pre-order, which I when I was like on her website being like, how do I get more Willow, realized that she'd reopened the Lush Lino. Like, it's somewhere between 20 and 30.
Whoa.
Like,
wow.
The palette that she's created, I'm just like,
oh,
wow. My
and all
word.
like variegated and speckled, or some are like tonal?
Lush Lino is tonal. But like, I was just like, everything. I want everything. I want everything.
And that's the piece, because 20 or 30 colors is a lot, but actually there's so many colors that it could easily be that 20 or 30 colors, I don't even like most of them. So it's like, it's when you find some person that has the same aesthetic.
Like the eye for colors.
Yes, but it has to fit ours too, because there's gonna be other people that another person would say, oh, I love that. That's exactly the blue I like, you know?
Yeah.
Like Life in the Long Grass, when we're like, those are the colors he's like, you know, metallic-y kind of whatever.
Let me, okay, like let's just look at like, this is the part of her grid of like, this is Lush Lino, this is Lush Lino. Like there's so many options. Like it's a full blown palette for like,
that's so mean.
I know. So, yeah, I love, as you all know, I love, like, we love like discovering a new aesthetic, and like Antonella, circle claps, like,
oh, beautiful.
Oh my god, it's so beautiful. But I was just like, this is too beautiful, I can't not purchase, and so I just bought a skein of everything.
I love that.
And bought a skein of the things that I was attracted to, and I was like, it's one skein, what will I do with it? I don't know, I can't decide.
One skein is ballsy. Like, because there's not a lot of stuff you can do with one skein.
Well, I realize that now. But at the time, I was just like, it's so pretty, I gotta get one of each. And then they came home, and then you get to like play. And
there are designers, wonderful designers that help us out because they know you're not the only one who did this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when I looked at, you know, the finish, like the projects of the Nightshift, most people did like color changing yarn. Yeah. And so I was like, well, I don't know how it's gonna work, but I'm so happy with how it's gonna work. And this is like now I feel like gonna be a base for me to do a bunch of things. Like I'm excited to go into my stash and like let my stash make friends.
Totally.
And create things.
I'm wondering, like, do you think because these are speckle, like, so they're not color changing, but they do change.
Yeah. And Willow's pretty variegated. I think when I knit this in garter, I was like, oh, it's variegated. Like it looks like this if you were to knit it in stockinette or in garter.
But like more variegated than tonal? Like,
yes,
like
this one's more variegated.
So
these are more speckly.
Right, but they all have like movement in them. So I'm wondering what this would look like if it was like just a straight color. Like if it would look as like the shifting, you can just feel how it shifts because of the
right.
What is this on? A 7?
Yes, it's a US 8, so 5 millimeters. So it really goes. It goes quickly.
That.
I cast it on to be a travel knit because when I'm traveling, I need something that's like a little bit engaging, but I like again. Can't
have to look at
go to the concert with something where you have to look at a chart or do shaping. It's just like, and it's so memorizable.
We barely knit at all of that.
We didn't.
Going to that concert.
We absolutely did not. I had a little progress keeper to see like how much we got, and I think we both just sat on the train talking to each other with our needles in our hands.
We were doing that and putting our hands over our face because we were sitting near the bathroom and it was so disgustingly gross. Anyway. I am
so happy about it.
Yeah.
She's like, it is mine.
As usual, I'm always doing that.
You know, we could. I definitely have enough to do another one.
I would just have to get more of this stuff.
More of the Suri. So the Suri you can get
Exile.
from...
And
the blue is so good.
I just love your choices.
Thank you.
I love...
What I'm realizing is that having a bodacious, abundant stash is really helpful. Because I think prior to like when my entire stash was knitted in, you really didn't have to worry about it because everything went together. Because again, you're like inside of one palette, you're inside of one like set of colors. It's like sheep plus the dyes that Carolyn and her team use. But when you're mixing between different dyers, companies, like it's really hard to do online. I've learned that like it's really hard to do it. Like you really, and then when you have an abundant stash, you just like Carmen taught me, let your stash get messy, let everything fall on top of each other, which I sometimes do. I just like scoop and like throw, and then you're like, ooh, who wants to be friends? And this, I'll put it in the show notes. This is a it was a random. Got on sale.
Bramble Ridge or something?
No, like I can't recall the dyer's name, but what I recall is trying to go back and see if they had more stuff, and I couldn't. I don't know if they're still dyeing or whatever the case is.
It is beautiful, that rust.
But it's like when I saw this and this together, I was like, you will play.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this plays, but I think it's good enough.
Yeah, it does.
Like
while you're already doing it. So
I haven't
oh,
done this. This combo's not here yet.
This one,
like these two are. I was thinking that I would just flip these together, but pretty. I also just love, we love color here. I also love a knit where you are free to make decisions lots of places. Like it sort of keeps you engaged, right? Because you're like.
It's true.
Like you can follow the pattern because Andrea's amazing, right? You can follow the pattern, but there's also this like, oh, I'm like done this little section now. Okay, like who's coming next? And that is super duper fun for me. So.
True. It's too bad we weren't podcasting like a few days, even like 4 days ago, because she just had her big birthday sale.
Andrea Mowry.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Her like birthday. She goes by her birthday year.
Yeah. So the discount just keeps getting
off. Bigger. I always wonder every year. I'm like. Is it gonna be? Is there gonna be a cap
I'm
on
so
this?
excited for when Andrea Mowry is 78 years old and she's still designing. She's like, DRK birthday sale.
It's true. I love it.
But I also just want to take a moment to talk about how I feel like the stitch pattern is so chic.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
It is.
And she's done it in like all different kinds of sweat. Like she's done everything. Like there's a hat, there's a cardigan, there's a sweater, there's a cowl, there's a like it just I love how she discovers a like pattern and then a stitch pattern and then she's like all the ways that I can use it. And this like my brain is exploding with like a billion ideas. Like she's do you know the Trinnigan cardigan? Should probably actually start showing these things.
Yes, I think I bought that one too.
Yeah, it's in my Trinnigan. Just want to show it.
Maybe if you do like the hashtag Trinnigan, maybe like.
There we go. Okay. So again, it's. Where's it good?
I know one of hers.
Sample. Okay, this is Andrea's. It's this like beautiful cardigan that again is like color changing yarn. It's mosaic pattern. And I think I want to knit a Trinnigan. Here, let's see if we can make it find it. Oh, there, that's better.
So pretty.
So pretty, right? I think I want to do a Trinnigan, but sub that
this color
stitch pattern, and instead of doing color changing, do like a two-tone.
Beautiful.
Or like see if I can get a bunch of skeins to knit the Trinnigan. Comme ça.
Yeah. Oh, so good. I was just thinking about the, because I knit a shifty, which was the pullover version of this.
I've never seen that.
I know, it was before. If you scroll back, I don't even know, in my Instagram, maybe right at the beginning. I don't even know if I have it modeled. I never wore it. I kind of messed up on the bottom, like the tubular bind off at that point, and like, well, anyway. That was one my sister put on when she came a couple months ago and went through all of my things. She put that on and was like, and loved it.
Yeah.
It looks so beautiful on her.
Yeah.
Well,
Carmen's like, I like my new shawl.
I do. It's actually quite nice as a summer, as it is right now. This feels really nice. It's just like on my shoulders, but it's not wrapped in here, so I'm not like hot. Like it's really pretty.
I did knit it thinking about like the lighter side of a transition.
Yeah.
Transition shawl, like because Suri, I'm not super wool sensitive, but as I get warmer, some stuff like even like some non-Sonder yarn Cormo hair and like some of my big gauge Newton shawls, I will become aware of the sensation of wool as I get warmer.
Yeah.
And because I now feel like I shall only wear how Nui and mohair held double because the sensory pleasure of that is so amazing.
God.
Like Suri alpaca similarly never ever, I feel like it will never get scritchy. Right. And so I thought, okay, like what's a nice what's a nice summer shawl that's like warm for windy nights, but you're not gonna get like high humidity sticky.
Oh yeah.
This combo.
This is really enjoyable.
To pet?
Yes.
Yes.
It reminds me of like walking on like river rocks, like pebbles. Like this is really enjoyable.
We'll just do this for a while. I do this
Jackie keeps doing this to me, like making shawls that I just like then just can't take off. I just love them.
Well, it's interesting that you say that because I was, Rhinebeck is coming. And Rhinebeck for me is like the fashion show of the year for knitting.
Yeah.
I mean, all fiber festivals, when we were at Knit City, I feel like I didn't have that fashion show experience because we were having so much fun in the booth just like creating things with people. So I didn't have the opportunity to just like watch.
We saw people come in. Loving those.
But there's a scale thing around New York Sheep and Wool.
Yeah, because you can see people walking farther away from you because you're outside.
Yeah, right? Like there's there's a volume sort of situation. And I don't know where I was going with that. I had a thought, but it just like flew away.
Rhinebeck, shawls that you keep doing.
Oh, right. Okay. So what I realized as I was like thinking about, okay, what is our Rhinebeck sweater going to be? I realized that in the past little while, I've like shifted what is important to me in my knitting from what looks good. I mean, aesthetics is part of it, but I've really been in this like sensory exploration. Like it's like how I want it to feel
and experience
it. And like this was one of those like sensory experiments that I felt I was like, yes, like
I feel like
hit it on the sensory experience.
Even like with client, you know, like, so I'm often like saying when people are like, you know, feeling emotions and stuff, that like oftentimes we can get mad at ourselves and everything. So one thing is nice to like put your hand like on your chest and like give yourself love, and like this, and or stroke your arms, like calm your body down, and like this would be doubly calming because you're getting it on your arms and feeling that lovely on your arms, but then your hands also get this like, and it's distracting.
Like, but I mean, that's what we talked about in terms of like shawls are like a cozy home.
They
like
really
shawls are like
are.
Sacred spaces or something about that. And I used to knit a lot of shawls like archetypically in terms of thinking about symbolism and meaning, but like recently it just has sort of been all about like feel and texture. So yeah, just interesting to sort of think about in your creative process, like what's driving the decisions that you're making. And as I approach Rhinebeck, I notice like I am thinking about aesthetics, like, you know, what color do I want, and like what do we want to wear, and like all those kinds of things. But I keep coming back to being more inspired by sensory, and I think that just reflects, you know, the experimentation with different yarn bases that we have had over the past year. At least for me, like really always working with Nightshift, but also working with like
this
lots
is like
of
mind
different
blowing
things.
for you, because you really had quite a long time where there was like no other fiber. But realizing like, oh my gosh, like I think now I'm knitting for like what I want to feel like inside of my knitting, which is inclusive of color and pattern and shape and all those kinds of things. But like at the front of it is like, what's the feeling? I think it's really smart. Maybe I'll follow your lead,
but that's why I was thinking about the Trinnigan cardigan, because I thought like a big version of this, like to just cozy up in the like texture plus the thing. And there are sections here where I've done Suri plus Suri. Like where the contrast color is a Suri alpaca with Suri alpaca, and I don't like it as much as the sections that have the superwash merino and linen.
How would you? You were using this this with the other Suri contrast? Where's that?
Here.
That's this?
This is Suri on Suri versus like superwash merino on Suri. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like mixing yarn bases is so fun.
Yes. It's really... Okay, if 45 minutes or whatever this has been hasn't convinced you, just know this is really great. Really, really great.
Yeah, if you're somebody who, because I think moving in and out of superwash is one of those movements that most knitters do in their like knitting journey. So whether if you're somebody who's like moving out of superwash season, or like me moving into superwash season, like Suri and superwash, I don't know.
They are nice. Well, this particular, it's funny, right? It'll just
and
some of it might
not all
not.
superwash is the same, but I do think this is a combination.
The linen, though.
Yeah, the linen. I do think the linen makes a difference.
Because if it was just superwash, it might just be...
Fiber is amazing. Like, it's just 10%.
I know.
10% linen.
I know.
Like, total game changer.
Absolutely.
Same thing when you spin with things.
Yeah, the sweater, when you can look, you see, it's only 10% linen, but it's like, you see
you
the
can
linen all through it.
Yeah.
Like, it's, you can look, so much linen.
So good.
So good.
All right.
I'm
like looking down at...
it's
gonna be a while to...
Oh my god. Oh my god. I really, really like that. And just so you know.
I know.
Just so it can be noted. I really like that. Just in case you weren't aware.
I did actually start making a pile of knits that I'm gonna give to Carmen. And this can go in that pile after a year.
Okay.
Because the pile of things that I like, I feel like knits to go to Carmen. I was like going through my sweaters and I was like, I feel complete with this. So
this is really fun. I will have these things too.
Yeah, well, we talked about it last year. I'm like, we're not really approaching, like how are we like? No, we're only halfway through the year. No, we're more than halfway through the year. But like, I'm already thinking about when you do the like everything I knit sort of
Yes.
episodes, and we talked about doing trades. So I started to like organize. Here are the things
from the year before.
From the year before.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to
Right.
look at that.
So because why not?
So fun. Maybe I'll actually like spend a time just binging our own podcast and looking at like all of the ones that when you try on all of my knits.
Oh, okay. I thought that you were like, I'm gonna make Santa's wish list of all of the knits that I would like you to give me, but no, you did in a very audacious way, where you were like, what are the knits that? Yeah, because that trading process was so fun. But
I have a feeling you know which ones I'm gonna.
I do know.
I mean, you may not have any knits left if you actually go with that though.
I mean, actually, if we just like lifted up my entire closet of knits and swapped, I think we would both be incredibly happy.
I think so too. It's very true.
But you like, there are certain attachments to certain knits.
Yeah, there are. There are some I could not give up, but only because I literally wear them all the time. They are just staples. My eyelet top, like staple.
To figure that. I need to knit that one.
That's by Layla Raven. Run, don't walk. Just cast it on. It's so fast.
I have
the tea.
Oh my god.
It's so good.
So good.
Oh, okay. Okay. We've already talked about that. Let's move.
Let's move on.
Let's go.
It's been an hour. Oh my god.
Whip down. Remember the whip down. So I already count this one as being kind of a whip down. Funny enough, because I used
it was birthed out of the whip down.
Yes.
It was birthed out of frogging.
It wouldn't have been there. It would have still been sitting in my little project bag forever because I was never going to finish that. But I was,
But you love the yarn.
But I love the yarn.
You love the yarn.
The effing Stria is done, so okay. As
I feel like insert like roar applause.
If we could, yay! Our friend Leanne from the Nitty Stew, she'd have the like angels, like. It's done. It's done.
Oh my god, the choices.
Okay.
It's so cute.
I love it. I love it. Right?
Oh my god.
Like, look at this.
Okay, has anybody done this hack before? Because everybody any of you who are in that Stria support group, any of you who are thinking about knitting the Stria, any of you who have the Stria and it's in like a project bag, solution.
Right?
Be like Carmen.
What's so funny is because it was so painful to knit this thing, if I didn't love it as the short sleeve, I wouldn't have done it as the short sleeve, but I actually like I would have just continued, but maybe it's the color also, because it's
the
such
color.
A spring, summer cuteness.
Oh my god.
Like, look how cute this is. I also think I cropped it a little bit.
Yes.
Not
that much.
But
because in her sample, so the Stria card by Andrea Mowry, let me pull it up so that you can have a side-by-side comparison. Man, we are a lot of Andrea Mowry today.
We are.
Yeah. Anyhow, keep going.
I don't even do a lot of Andrea Mowry. Well, I buy all of her patterns. I just haven't knit them. So we're talking fisherman, for anybody who hasn't tried or know this thing or watched our past podcasts. This is fisherman's rib size, I'm pretty sure 2 needles, so 2.75 millimeters. Yep, toothpick knitting. I mean, it's fisherman's rib. I think there's 2 ways to do fisherman's rib. This one is the one where you go under and you knit through the stitch below. I actually really enjoyed that. And the way that you do it, there's not a lot of purling, which is really nice. But it is a long time. It goes and goes and goes. But now that it's done, it's this just squishy, perfect, cute little summer cardigan. And it should be, Jackie's finding it, but it should be like a long sleeve. The way she has it is more of like a slouchy sweater.
Andrea Mowry puts out too many patterns because that just been scrolling down her feed and I'm nowhere even close to it.
It's okay. My one question was, did I make it the sleeves too long? I almost...
Too long?
Yeah. They're they're good. But I could have, I think it is...
So what was the, mod?
At the blue. Like I could have stopped it there.
Oh,
what was the mod?
Yeah, what did you actually do here?
I continued. So I continued and did the sleeves.
Here's the original. It's cropped. but long with like long sleeves.
Yeah.
Super cute.
It's super cute. I mean, it's lovely.
Yeah.
But this, I just really, it's just, okay, so my my yarn is from Botanical Yarns, Sophie, out in the UK. York,
Except Sophie so lovingly flies over to North America for all of our freaking yarn festivals. So
yeah, you can
see her here at...
And do.
Yeah.
This was a gray that was like calendula something.
Cotyldeon Undulate.
God. You're like, wow.
I can't remember actual life things, but...
Wow. I was staring at that name forever and still couldn't remember it. And then just one of her little mini skein sets, which I used almost nothing from.
But that, okay, again, you put this together.
Nope.
No, the mini skein set she put together, but you decided to, it's not like she kitted up this gray and that. Did she?
So this was when I was at that cute little yarn thing when we were in England for 6 weeks a couple years ago, and it was in a school and in the gyms, and then I saw Sophie there, and she had all of these samples, and she had the sweater in this gray with a slightly different, but it was along the same lines. So I take no credit at all for this color selection. It's all her.
But the choice of neons and pastels with this gray, I feel like, is what makes the sweater.
I do too.
So good.
I do too.
So good.
I like the lines that you get. You know, like
it's pretty low contrast for you.
It is. There are some that you can barely see.
Like the lavender.
Yeah, so the lavender is almost nothing.
So gorgeous.
Which is really cool when you actually hold them up. When you're looking at them, they look very different. Yeah. But then you knit with them, they're gone. And look at these cute little buttons. I'm gonna give my
is perfection.
I love them. I'm gonna give my husband a shout out for that one. We bought these buttons when we were in Amsterdam. Oh, no. Yeah, it was Amsterdam. And we were just looking in this, I think it was no, I don't think it was Stephen and Penelope, but I think it was another one. Pizza. There's literally nothing. Shh. And I was trying to figure out buttons, and he picked these out.
For this.
I had it with me because I was, maybe it wasn't, no, it was in, we were in Denmark. That must have been in Denmark. And yeah, and so I held it up, and he was like, what about these, babe? And I'm like, yes.
Yes.
Cute little.
Yes.
See, they're little flowers, pink.
There's something about the top that is like, it reads very classic vintage to me.
Interesting.
And like when you were talking about the sleeve length, I think the sleeve it's like preppy and cute, except you've done like neon, I love it. It's so, this is such a genius choice, Carmen, because I remember we were talking about it in the whip down, and then you and I were talking about it, and I was like, maybe this is your Rhinebeck sweater. I can't remember if it was on the podcast or after, but you were like, but it's too summery. And I was like, that's such a intelligent recognition that some colors live in a season.
Yes.
And I feel like you have done this justice, because I think if you had actually knit it out the way that it was, I don't think it would have gotten worn as often.
I don't think so. Because
in terms of when you want the garment and the color palette, this is so fun. Now it'll be worn forever.
Fun. I know. And what's funny, somebody left a comment saying, Rhinebeck can be really hot. And I was like, that's true. So I think I'm going to bring it to Rhinebeck anyway, just to see. But yeah. I love it.
Stitches, Carmen, they're perfect.
Well, yes, thank you. Except for there is one mistake in there somewhere that I found last time, but I was like, ignore.
Can you see it? Can somebody see it if you're galloping on a horse?
No.
Okay.
but
we'll show you anyways.
No, yeah, it's somewhere in here. I don't know where it is. I don't even care.
Oh my god.
I think that this though, Andrea Mowry. Jeez, she's just
you know what I love? I love when you see when a designer puts out a pattern, you see it and it's really beautiful.
Yeah.
And then in the knitting process, there are these little Easter egg moments that make the pattern even better.
Yes.
That you're just
that is so pretty. And when you put this on, I'm going to let you put it on in a second. It's the fit, and I think that that's the pain of the fisherman's rib. It's the benefit of it at the end of the day because it literally is just stretching where it needs to stretch.
Yeah.
It's like a squishy little envelope or something that just like takes, just look at it, just sits perfectly. So and it's supposed to have this like a lot of negative ease, right? Like,
oh yeah,
you can see, I mean, I can't, because it's stretchy, I can do these up. By the way, this is funny. Word to the wise, put your buttons on. What did I do? I think I blocked it before I put the buttons on before blocking it, I think. Yes, and then it blocked out in different ways. Something happened where it's not, like I was trying to get them to line up and they weren't quite lining up because of the way I see, like this one, I should have pulled it more. Anyway, so maybe.
Did you block it with the buttons buttoned up, or you blocked it with the buttons not buttoned up?
I think I needed to, what did I do, Jackie? I must have blocked it once I'd already put the buttons on. No, maybe not.
I feel like
I blocked it before.
Well, in my head, what would make the most sense in terms of making sure that everything lines up beautifully is to block it with it buttoned up.
That makes
like
sense.
if you put your buttons on prior
and then block it,
and then you button the buttons in the button, like you put the buttons in the buttonhole and then you block it. Yes. I feel like then it would match up.
I think I must have blocked it before.
Did you block it? Did you rib it? Did you add the ribbing? Did you add the ribbing before or after blocking the body? Because, like, do you pick up this ribbing?
I did the ribbing. Yes, you pick up the ribbing, the shoulder button band. You pick it up.
After you've knit the fisherman's rib.
After you've knit all of this. I know. Wait till you put it on. You're going to love it. I must have blocked it because I remember putting on the buttons and going, oh, they're not at the equal thing because I had to stretch. Oh yeah, so maybe that's why I did this. I'm just talking and not making any sense.
We'll get there.
Because of the way it was when I had knit it, the button band was coming up, like, so it was like
right,
lower,
because ribbing is ribbed, so before you block it, it's like.
So I think I pulled them, but I should have pulled them equal. I thought I did, but I didn't. Something's a little bit off.
Well, it's just really hard, right? Like I've done this in blocking like sleeves where I can't remember what sweater it was. I did very little blocking. I just like laid it out and I like patted it out. And then when I put it on, there was one sleeve that was like significant, like that much longer.
Yeah.
And I was like, did I like screw up the amount of like rows? But I knew that wasn't the case because I could see the little decrease, like my stitch markers were still in there, and I was like, man, like blocking makes a difference. And so from now when I block things out, I have like blocking wires, and so I just like use I don't measure it out or anything. I'm like, oh, okay, like that's how long it is on this blocking wire. Let me like move it over here and pretend like it's the same.
At least you do
something. But it's like surprising what a big difference it can make. Which isn't related to gauge, it's literally like it's related to how you like lay it out. And ribbing especially, right?
I know I did. And it's because of the lining, like you can see the lines, but the thing is I'm not ever gonna probably button this, so I think it's all fine.
Oh, you're talking about when you button it up that the lines line up.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Because the buttons are like slightly different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, whenever I pick up, which is rare, I haven't knit that many things where I pick up the button band, I feel like I block the item first and then I pick up the button band
and then pick up the button.
And that's then, right?
I have a Thea Coleman that I'm going to show. That's what she told me to do, and I was like, this is really smart. Yeah,
because then
it gets it in the right place.
Yeah, it gets it in the right place. But then there's this other layer of sort of saying when you go back to block the button band, if you have buttons, I feel like it makes sense to button the buttons up.
Yeah.
Or if you haven't added the buttons yet to block it. That's so funny.
That's
I'm like
what
trying
my
to think,
problem
do you
was.
block a cardigan with the edges like this? Or like if we are the button band, do you block a cardigan like this or do you block a cardigan like this? Right? Do you block it like this or like this?
Yeah. If you already have the buttons on.
But even if you don't have the buttons on, doesn't it make sense to block it like this? Because that's how it's gonna lay, right?
That's true.
So that you don't get the...
And you do, because you want it lining, because these ones are not, for me to line up the way these all came out, the buttons were going to look
or line up
wrong.
The buttons.
Lining up the lines for here and here, the buttons were going to be, because I think I stretched this one, the buttons were going to be different lengths from each other, and that looked stupid. So, I mean, they still are here, but anyway. Who cares? Who cares? It's perfect. I love it.
I also really appreciate, Carmen, that you put on the buttons because I feel like when I've knit cardigans, I'm always like, F the buttons. Because I never actually am going to like do them up.
What you're
but
gonna
in
see
this
in the
situation, it looks really good.
It does look cute.
Like, it looks cute. I feel like the buttons add to it. In that I think you could have totally gotten away without the buttons, but because of your excellent button choice, it's like made it even better. How many times can I say buttons in 30 seconds? Buttons. They're cutest. Can I turn on?
Buttons, yes, of course. Oh, it's so cute. Perfect little summer top.
As I'm looking at this, I'm like, oh my god, I got totally influenced.
So cute. It's so cute. I mean, how work? It's work appropriate, I think.
Well,
you
that's
know,
what I'm
like it's a little bit. It's casual, but I think it's
preppy.
Totally, yes.
Like there's something about the sleeve length to me that reminds me of like vintage
it's true.
sweater sets that I think is so genius.
It is so pretty.
This is making me think like, you know, maybe I could knit the Stria. No.
It's not that bad.
The fabric.
I know. And so this is Superwash, 100% Superwash Merino.
So lovely.
It's really lovely and squishy.
I think I'm having a moment where I think for me, my reticence with Superwash is one, the hand feel, but like the hand feel in stockinette. And the way that I feel like, you know, when we've been at fiber festivals, when I pick up a full, like a Superwash sweater and I try it on, there's this like
drape kind of
like this
falling
thing.
Yes.
But this doesn't have it at all. And I feel like maybe the key to working with Superwash yarn is really thinking about like gauge and really thinking about what stitch you're working with it in. Because I think you and I both like to knit things on the looser end of things, and I think when I've tried to knit with Superwash, I just like knit with it the same way that I would knit with a non-Superwash, like a rustic yarn that blooms a lot, but because Superwash won't bloom, like you can't, it's not recommended to knit it on a large gauge unless you're holding it with something. But like, I want you all to see the perfection of the fisherman's rib. Like, it's so perfect.
So pretty.
And you're right about the envelope.
Yeah, it just finds you and just like hugs you.
Yeah. So cute.
It's so cute. I'm very, very, very happy that I did this.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Finishing your strap.
Thank you all. Because if we hadn't had the whip down, it's a good chance that I wouldn't have finished it.
Okay, I feel like I want to. Ooh, did I just?
Oh, yes. I think we're a little.
That's all right. Okay. Can I show a whip?
Yes.
Not a whip, an FO. That I feel like is like the sister to
Oh
your.
my god, it's so gorgeous. It's so beautiful.
Since we're in like Andrea Mowry hour.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, Jackie.
Okay.
Ah.
So this is my Handspun DRK Andrea Mowry Traveler.
Beautiful.
It's the pullover, and I did it as the crew neck version.
So pretty.
Like I'm looking at this and I'm like, was I influenced? Probably. I have to say that the entire genesis of this sweater is because of Megan of Bramble Ridge, who is my like ride or die dyer, and this beautiful braid of this beautiful braid that she dyed for Tour de Fleece last year, using the color combination of the Stash Dasher's mascot, Dashel, this little sheep that was made by, that was created by Marina Batty Fibers, and Megan dyed this colorway to be the same color as Dashel. So
cute.
The cutest, I mean, I'm like, I love this color. This is just enough neon, just enough like color for me. And so I spun this up during Tour de Fleece this year. Now, oh, I forgot the hat. Oops. The first thing that I did actually is I had actually spun this up as a 2-ply, and it came out really cute. Oh, I can show a picture of it. How about we do that? And it came out really cute, but there's this thing that happens for hand spinners or potential hand spinners that like there's this like transformation process when a braid becomes fiber, like when a braid becomes yarn, and then when the yarn gets knit, that like at each step I haven't figured out like what's going to happen.
I know. It's magic. It's
just
magic. Does what it needs to do.
I mean, I was like, this is perfection. There is absolutely nothing that needs to be adjusted around this process. But when I knit it up, see, this is what it looks like in the skein. It's like a long process. This is what it looks like in the skein as I spun it as a 2-ply. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's perfection. And then I knit it. Oh God, can I get this to pause? And then I did a little sample where I knit it into a hat that you can like maybe sort of see in the corner there, where I was like, the hat is gorgeous, but I feel like knitting it in stockinette and spinning it as a 2-ply is not creating the same color in the knit fabric as it is in the braid.
Okay.
Like, because when I look at this braid, I'm like, the balance of gray and like the darker gray and the like little neon pops, it's perfection. Like the proportion is perfection. Like I just want this as a fascinator, you know? Like I just want this on my body. Yes. And so I was talking to Megan about it, and I was like, I'm gonna spin it as a 3-ply this time and see how it comes out, if I can get it to look exactly like this as a 3-ply, and also just for the pattern that I wanted to do it in. And I was like, but I just like, could you dye me up? Like, could you dye up one that has just like a little more neon pop? And here's where it's like, thank goodness for dyers who do the math better than me. She's like, I don't think, like, she's like, I could just like put this in a pan and like add more of the neon. But what I actually think you should do is, if you're doing a 3-ply, let's do a 3-ply that's just like just all neon.
Yes.
And like there is some gray, but it's like really much.
Yes.
Like there's much more neon.
Then you have more control over where it's coming.
And so this is the 3-ply of, so I ended up sort of going halfway, where 2 of the plies are just this one like spun as a single, and then the 3rd ply is half of this and half of this.
Okay.
So I sort of like,
that makes
in
sense.
a non-organized kind of way.
Some of these.
Yeah. I had like the 2 braids. I'd like strip them down into, I think like 1/8, because I wanted them to be like really skinny, and I'd just like spin some of this, and then I was like, it feels like I want some neon, and then I'd spin some of the neon, then I'd like spin some of this. This is what I ended up with, and I'm so happy with it.
It's so pretty. I mean, obviously I like it.
It came out perfect. I'm like, this is exactly as much neon as I wanted. It's like super summery. It has gone everywhere with me. I've been traveling. It really is. When Andrea was like, this is the traveler hoodie, which I like forgot. It was because she wanted like a sweatshirty throwing it on. It is in fact perfection.
Oh my gosh.
I will say, so I ended up spinning about 420 grams, but after I like washed it and blocked it, the weight of this is now like 380 grams. I don't know how that happened. I'm like, I don't know what fell out.
Right.
But weird.
Isn't like mass not supposed to be like ever destroyed or some kind
of
thing?
Like I'm like, and it's totally weird to me, because like, you know, with Newton there's like a pre and post, because in Newton like you lose there's a lot of lanolin in it. And so when you like, I feel like in my head, when you're weighing how much, when you're like knitting it, and then the weight pre-blocking or like pre-washing and blocking and post, I'm like, oh, all the weight difference comes out of the like lanolin somehow. I don't even know if that makes sense, but in my brain that's what happened. But like somehow I don't know how I lost so many grams here, because it's like comb top. I don't know.
It's a mystery.
It's a mystery. It's a mystery. But so 3-ply, and my gauge is not quite, my row gauge is not the same as Andrea's row gauge. Bigger. And so I just, thankfully, the way that Andrea Mowry writes her patterns is she has like number of rows.
Yes.
And also the like length, like the distance, like the length knit until whatever amount of inches. And so I followed that. My stitch gauge was also larger, and so I knit a size 1 and ended up with a finished bust size of, I can't remember. I'm gonna put it in the show notes. But what's different about mine, because of that stitch difference,
yes,
is that
deeper.
It's deeper. Like the way that Andrea Mowry has been designing some of her drop shoulders is that you sort of start at the bottom, you knit up, and then you cast on stitches here to create the shoulder. So mine is like longer because I cast on the same number of stitches in the sleeve because I didn't want to futz around with the pattern because it was going to impact the short row shaping up here. So I feel like my drop shoulder sleeves come out like longer, but I kind of like it. I think it works. I think it's cute.
Super.
The other thing that I'll say for those of you who are thinking about knitting this, whether you're a hand spinner and wanting to do this out of Handspun, or whether you've like got beautiful yarn that you want to work with, but you're not able to hit Andrea's gauge. What I did for so you like knit it around and then you split for front and back, you cast on sort of like this extra arm stuff, and then you're knitting back and forth, and then there is sort of short row shaping. And a beautiful
pretty
3 needle bind off. Is this 3 needle bind off? Just yes. Yeah, but like the opposite. You let the wrong side show to make this really nice, beautiful seam. And so what I did in the pattern, if you're wanting to adjust, is that you cast on, and then there's a certain number of rows that you're supposed to knit before you start the short row shaping. So what I did is I kept the short rows exactly as they are, but knit this flat part pre-short row shaping shorter. Like I didn't do as many rows
because it would have been
as
too deep.
She did. And then in the short row section, I did fewer short rows, and I didn't know how it was going to work out because I really like messed with it. But what I wanted, the reason I'm saying all of this is this like sort of garter ridge pattern, similar to Fisherman's Rib. I think even though my dimensions didn't come out exactly as in pattern, the fit is still good because I think that the garter just kind of adjusts and drapes in a really nice way.
It's pretty.
I love it. I feel like it's the perfect summer sweatshirt.
It is.
It was so fun start to finish.
The beach or something, and it's the end of the day, and you're like getting a little cold, and like throw it on.
Yeah,
so
and
pretty.
Just enough neon.
Did you do this on purpose to have the yellow at the top of everything? Okay,
I did. So, I did do a little. Not very much color management. I mean, I just like knit this as it came.
Yep.
But I had, like, I could see, in some of the balls that there would be like a big neon section, and so I sort of stopped knitting. I stopped knitting from that ball of Handspun, knowing that I would finish it. But I mean, it's just the edges.
I know, I love the way you did that.
It was literally just 2 rows. It was like 1 row and then a bind off that I had sort of like pulled out some of the neon to keep this happening. Now I was a little bit like persnickety about how I did the sleeves. Because the sleeves match pretty well.
The match they do. They do.
So the way that I did that, if you're a spinner, is that I basically, took the braid and I stripped it into 2. And so I spun, thinking for the sleeves. I spun, and I only actually managed for one of the plies, which is kind of interesting, right? I only color managed. Yeah, I only color managed for one of the plies. So I took it and I sort of stripped it down into 2, and then knew that one of those sides was going to be my left and the other side was going to be my right. And then the other 2 plies I just spun as I needed. But there is a little bit of color management if you're hand spinning in terms of the stripes, which I did color manage, which is that this bottom part, I spun I split it into 2 and then spun it the single that way. And then when I got up here, it was it was split into 4 pieces, so 1/4 of a braid, and then the sleeves were 1/8, just to keep the stripes.
It's really great
thing, but I'm so happy.
Makes
there's something about neon that makes me cheerful. It's
absolutely
and summery and a little
fun.
But again, I really love this line that, again, Andrea sort of design aesthetic, like the way that it kind of goes across and wraps around, I think
so
looks
pretty.
really nice.
It's also the drop shoulder. We were talking with Layla Raven was saying that like the drop shoulder goes like this, the lines, right?
Yeah.
And then a raglan would take it up.
Yeah.
Actually,
So,
like this.
yeah.
Oh no, this is a round. This is round.
Is it round?
Yeah, I think. Well, it's raglan, but it seems like it's making round as opposed to like usually with a raglan it goes.
It's because your raglan is wide.
Yeah, that must be it.
Like, so the angle of your stripe is getting distributed out, so it's swoopier, which again is also genius.
I know it is. Andrea. I want to try yours on too. Ooh. Oh, God. Okay, hang on. Most likely like this. Is that the front?
I don't know.
Ah.
Really need to start
That's the
putting
front.
tags in.
Yeah, I now just put a little like stitch marker.
Stitch marker?
Yeah.
I usually do that.
Oh, there's your cute little. Oh yeah.
Oh, it's so cute.
I love it.
I feel like, see, would you want the arms
I'd
longer?
make it a little longer for me,
Yeah.
but that's always the case.
Um,
it's pretty.
So, you know.
Did I put it on backwards? Did you have it like this?
Yeah, I think so.
I didn't notice it. It's pretty.
I don't really know. Can't really tell now.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Or just
little details also, now that I'm looking at it, I love this faux seam on the side.
yes.
Like it just does something that's really, oh my God, Carmen looks so cute on you.
It's so cute. I like it.
It's funny though, because talk about like non-monogamous knitting. You guys will have seen this. This was my first traveler hoodie that I also did in my handspun. And I loved it. And then I feel like summer hit. And even though I have the arm, like I have the yarn for the arms like spun up and everything.
I forgot.
I just like didn't want to work with it. Yeah. I was like, why don't I start from scratch and do a whole sweater spin, knit a whole
100%.
sweater. But I feel
because
like
this is the color story.
it's the color story of summer.
Absolutely.
So I'm getting ready because I'd really like to have this done.
Yeah.
Oh, I should say the this was Rambouillet, which is the Andrea's original, like her sample that she knit was knit in a, I think, Farmer's Daughter's fiber. Like I think it was a Rambouillet. So it was the first time I've spun Rambouillet and worked with it, but I was very intentional about choosing the Rambouillet for the squishy.
Yeah.
And this is BFL silk, BFL and BFL silk.
Yeah, you can see the difference.
And it's really like there's gauge differences, of course, but the feeling of it is really different. And like I would, if you're a hand spinner and you wanna spin, I love these both, but I do think that the choice of something that's springier creates a certain
This is a marshmallow kind of feel.
Yeah.
It's really, really, this is perfect to just throw over.
Yes.
In a cool
like,
summer night.
It's a great summer, I think it's a great summer, spring summer piece, whereas this one, because of the BFL, because of the silk, I think fabric wise, if I were to just like squish the fabric, I prefer this just for me. But it definitely is more, like has more body. Like I feel like this is like red wine, white wine. Like, do you know what I mean?
This has more body.
This has more body.
More body.
It feels more substantial.
Oh, more, okay. Yeah.
Like it's like a weighted blanket as opposed to a not weighted blanket.
Oh, I
Because
see what
actually
you're
weight
saying.
wise, I think, well, before the sleeves, this weighs as much as that. Because
Yes, well, the
the
silk is
freaking
heavier.
hood.
And
The hood
that's
is
200 grams or
is like
something.
130 grams of handspun just for the hood.
Oh.
But yeah,
Look at this in our little little travelers that
traveler thing.
you knit both.
I mean, it's just everything that I have that's handspun must
It works
be a
with
traveler,
this, right? I mean, you keep saying it. I did buy a bunch of patterns in the sale, so I will be doing this at some point. Without giving the pattern away. Oh, I feel like it just happened with that weird line again. No, it's okay. Sometimes we get the split screen right there. I don't know. It looks like it's split. Anyway, is this a pattern? Is this a stitch that involves a lot of purling? Is what I want to know.
Okay, so it's like a, oh God, math. It's 60% knitting, 40% purling. However, no, I know that's not what you want to hear. However, I don't like to purl.
I know.
But the joy of, okay, so here's what I'll say. I've used the stitch pattern a gajillion times. I've knit the Traveler shawl and handspun. I also knit the Traveler shawl, which I haven't shown on the podcast. One day I'll bring it in a solid color.
Yes,
like a commercial yarn. In solder yarn, it feels delicious and the color is delicious. But the process of it was not, like, it felt a little sloggy. Not sloggy, but I got to a point where I was like, is this done yet? Because it was just like one solid color.
Yeah.
Whereas this is handspun, that's handspun. My other Traveler shawl, which we showed on a previous episode, is also handspun. And so if you're doing it with handspun, like,
it's fun.
It's so fun.
Okay.
And the stitch, I love the stitch, I love the fabric that the stitch makes. And this is a totally weird psychological thing, which I feel like you'll appreciate. There's something super monotonous about, you're gonna knit one, then you're gonna purl, you're gonna knit one row, then you're gonna purl one row, then you're gonna knit one row, then you're gonna purl one row. Here, you don't do that.
Okay, you're doing a few
It's not
knits
one
or
and full, like there's this like, you do a
Okay.
couple purl rows, then you do a couple knit rows, then a couple purl, and it's
so
not
like sweater
equal.
28 too
Yes.
had that feel of like,
You're like,
different
there's
sections.
just enough difference that like you don't get the blahs.
Okay.
Or it doesn't feel like endless.
Good.
But I like, for me, I obviously like did not for a second hesitate to do another one.
Obviously, you've done it many times.
Yeah, like, and I will
So
keep doing it, because actually the stitch pattern, although it's just knits and purls, it's so Moorish. Like, you just want to get out, like, you just don't want to put it down.
And the
It's
gauge
so
is probably
strange.
pretty big, hey?
So I hacked this.
Okay.
So that the gauge
you said you made it,
is larger. And I think it's a pattern that's quite easy to hack for gauge for those of you who are hand spinners, or just like those of you who are thinking, oh, I have the perfect skein of yarn for this, right? Or like, I want to work with something, but I'm not hitting gauge. This is a pattern that I think is like relatively easy to grade, that you can adjust. You have to do a little bit of math in terms of if your stitch gauge is off. But in my head, we've talked about this before, like, who actually gets row gauge? Right?
Yes.
Like,
although there's a bit with the row gauge.
There's a bit with a row gauge, but because Andrea, like, she takes care of it for you, because she's like, just knit to this length. And this stitch pattern does grow a lot with blocking. And Andrea's like given you a suggestion in terms of like how much she thinks it's gonna grow with blocking, and her what she has suggested has bore out really true for me. And I don't, my gauge is not similar to Andrea's.
Right.
Like, I'm never on gauge with her needle size, and I can't seem to get her stitch row like thing when I knit her patterns, but her
so amazing, you're right.
guess
I hardly ever get that.
On like, you know, how much this is gonna grow proportion wise is like bang on.
Cool.
So yeah,
I really like it.
What do you think you're gonna, which of the series do you think you're gonna knit?
I do like this. I like this. This feels like something that I would wear a lot. Because
she has a shawl, she has a hat, she has a little bandana cowl.
Trying yours on, and I like that one. I'd actually have to look, because oops, I'm always doing that. Sorry. My knees bang the table. I can't remember what I ended up buying. Yeah. But I think it might have been the shawl. And did I buy this one?
If I could do this one again, I would probably take the hood off.
Yeah.
Like I don't wear hoodies.
Because this is this the same pattern?
Yeah, it's the same pattern.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and you just have the option for crew neck or the option to the hood. Although, let's take a moment and talk about how amazing the hood is. The hood is amazing.
The hood is amazing. Look, because so many times hoods have like points.
Yeah, the shaping of the hood, it was super fun to do.
Baby.
I feel like it's a hood that looks good on one's head.
Cute.
But I don't wear hoodies.
Yeah.
So if I were to do it again, you know, except this hood is so beautiful and I did it as a fade, so I'm gonna keep it.
It is gorgeous.
It is gorgeous.
But it does require, I mean, that's a long eye cord.
Mm-hmm. But it's also like the hood on this and putting the hood on, And like how you put it on, you just like follow it step by step, and it's like magic. Like look at the finishing on it. The finishing is incredible.
Right? It's on its own, and then you add it.
You pick it up, and then you knit it, and there are all these like steps that you just like. Andrew holds your hand, and then suddenly you have something that I feel like looks super professional and super like So, design triumph like here. But if I'm thinking about wearability, like that, it's just. There are two things that I've been carrying around with me like basically all summer, and it's that sweater since it's been off and this shawl. Again, because of that, like it's the feeling of it, and it's also like it's like the perfect fabric for the season,
really nice.
right?
I will say there's something about the ease of it that is letting air in somehow. That's cooler. Like I'm surprised I'm still wearing this. Like I would have been so hot. I felt like I was going to be too hot to wear this, but it's actually like not extra hot, but it would be warm. It'll be like it would give you just what you wanted.
It's perfect for a plane, you know, when you're like on a plane.
Yes.
And it's like,
and then it gets cold, and then it gets hot.
Like it just, I put it on at the beginning of the flight, and I wasn't I didn't have to adjust at all. I also think it's wool.
Yeah.
And I do think that there's something about like what I noticed about, this is the first time I've worn and worked with Rambouillet. There's something about it that it's like really bouncy and plumpy,
super,
but it's not dense.
Yes.
So a little bit less than 400 grams of handspun.
Wow.
And I'll put the stats in terms of the bust size and that kind of stuff. It's also, there's something, I also love this thing that she does with the drop shoulder, where you cast on the extra sleeves for the drop shoulder.
That's so
you can see it here.
Yeah.
Which I think creates, again, you don't end up with too much fabric, right? Because sometimes with the drop shoulders where you don't do this, there's like a lot of fabric here that kind of does this, which I don't mind. But again, thinking about like how it feels and like how much fabric you want in your body, there's something really genius about it. Because it's a garter ridge stitch, like it does eat yarn. Like you end up with more, it's more yarn than if you were to do a stockinette sweater, but just in the perfect way.
But and I mean, like 400 grams, there's still a lot of sweater.
Yeah, it's a lot of
grams,
sweater,
so.
but it doesn't feel like that much. So the Traveler series.
Beautiful.
Stay tuned there. Andrea Mowry.
Knocking it out of the park as usual.
And kind of like so funny. I always find it so funny that like she's existed forever. I've had these patterns for forever, but there's something like you kind of need to slip into a certain something. Yeah. There's a something. Like there's Andrea Mowry's patterns have a certain something, and like Pippin Pins like make a note, like there's this little something, and I think I'm just in a Andrea Mowry place.
I remember going with an Andrea Mowry pattern. I remember one time, and it must have been during COVID or something, because I remember I had been in a very stressful place. It must have been during anyway, doesn't matter. And I felt the need to get an Andrea Mowry pattern. Like even just the font, like just printing it off and looking at the font, because her patterns just look so different from anybody else. Like there's a specific aesthetic that it's just there. And I felt so comforted. I'm like, this is what I need. I need like what I know. I need this right now kind of thing.
I think of her patterns as joy snacks.
Oh, that's a nice way to say
just something
it.
about there's something that she's so like ebullient and like joyful,
and you can feel it within
and
her
like genuine inside of herself, and like there's just something about like slipping into that stream, you know, that it's like a joy snack.
It's so true.
And
so cute. And
she's somebody who knows how to write a pattern for color.
Yeah.
Right? Like she blew up around like whether it was like Find Her Fade series. Like she knows she has like incredible color sense, but she knows how to knit, she knows how to design a pattern that's gonna allow color to like shine. And
well, she's very intentional about, like, she's kind of no wonder you like to knit her, right? Because she's kind of like you, where she really thinks about what does this what's the pattern I need, not just like for example, I remember when she started her hand spinning, and then all of this came out of that, because she actually was like, I want a pattern that showcases hand spun yarn, you know, or I want a pattern, like I want something that I can put on a plane, like that's going to do all of this. It's very
there's
thoughtful on that front.
I think she designs with aesthetic obviously as part of it, but there's also like a lot of decisions that she's making outside of aesthetic. But I'm totally in like color handspun phase, especially because Tour de Fleece was last month. And so I've just been inundated with so much spinning content, and like, you know, my spinning stash, my fiber stash is massive, and I'm thinking about how I like I'm looking at this being like, what do you want to be? What do you want to be? And Andrea Mowry has a pattern that's going to let this be something gorgeous. So
it's really great.
Yeah.
It's really great.
Do you know what else is really color play that I see over there that I feel like we need to do some claps for, Carmen?
Oh, I need a clap for this one.
You need a clap.
It did take so much to finish.
What was the goal? The goal was get it done for Rhinebeck, so you made it.
This one I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Look what's done also, people. I just nailed my whips this time. If you remember, as of last episode, I just had something like an inch to do at the bottom. Everything else was finished, but I did it. And Jackie had suggested that I actually wait and do the Stria first, which I felt was really good. It was a really good idea because I could talk about actually when I did that Stria though. I didn't do it right away. Oh, look at you! We're all ready for our Rhinebeck. Woo!
Okay.
Maybe not with this dress, but look at us, our bubble sweaters. So, Instant Crush, Hohi Locatelli, done in Birdie, regular Birdie, not Big Birdie.
Yeah, regular Birdie.
From Lemon Kid. We bought these when we were at that festival that shall not be named anymore, probably, and maybe never exist again. Around Rhinebeck time last year. And yeah, what more? I mean, we've talked about it so many times, so we don't probably have to tell very much, but I feel very, very happy. Both of us, we used 4 skeins, 2 of the contrast actually. No, sorry, 2 of the main color. I think we had 2 of these, and then
2 skeins main color, and theoretically 1 skein each of the contrast colors, although that leaves you short.
Exactly, because I had to get some of yours, and we also both had to shift around the color pattern in order to get that, because some of the colors are eaten up faster than other ones.
And we both knit size 2.
Yeah. And it's just delightful. It's delightful.
I mean, so this has been off the needles for a while for me, but I'm really, I wanted to bring it back to show the side by side of like how the color choices make such a huge difference, and also what a big difference row gauge makes. Like, this was when I like woke up to the fact that like I'm not a tight knitter in terms of stitches. I mean, I'm not a loose knitter in terms of stitches. I'm a loose knitter in terms of rows. Like, my rows are massively larger than Carmen's.
Yeah.
The same pattern.
Yeah. Same wool.
Same wool.
Like yarn.
Similar, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I know, because look at where these ones are and where they are on yours. Like, I know. But I just think it's a very pretty. It's very,
I just want to bow down to your like color choices. I love your color choices
too. It's so pretty.
We could do a trade. I would take yours. You would not take mine, but I would take yours.
This is just so
it's so you. It's true. It's true.
I'm very happy with how and we were, as we said, like, we debated and what do we, what.
Yeah.
I'm very happy with how.
Yeah, it's a memory sweater more than anything else is like.
Yeah, and with Lily.
Yeah.
From Curatorial Knits.
So Lily, we did it.
Carmen came in, way behind. Oh, both of you. This has been old news, but maybe we'll wear them.
Maybe.
We're down there.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yay.
Okay.
Okay, what do we have?
I have one whip. I laughed about the 2 hours. And I'm like, we're flying. Maybe because, I think we're flying because a lot of these are
continue, like.
Yeah, they were in the whip down, so I'd already talked about them, so it's not like I have to go. Like, we would normally spend a good, half an hour on each of these things.
Yeah. What I'll do in the show notes is I'll just drop in, the episode numbers where we actually talked about them, so that if you're like, well, I just started watching you guys and I don't know the story, you can go back and take a look and watch a little chapter about our instant crushes.
Yay!
Okay. Let's see. Do you want to go?
Sure. I have one. So, it was just like whip down. Like, I had it, this gave me the opportunity to really just focus. And I had a plan to actually, I thought about my whips as opposed to casting on new things even though I did cast on new things. But well, obviously this one is new. I talked about the Mestia cardigan in my whip down, and all I had was the ribbing at the bottom. What's really funny is at the end of the episode, we talked about how I should get right on that Stria, and I was going away with my husband for 5 days, and I brought the Stria with me, but funny enough, I brought the wrong needle size, and I'm not sure if that was like intentional or like quasi-intentional, but I wasn't like, but funny enough, and I, for some reason, brought my Mestia, which I'm doing in Newtedin, which I hadn't knit Newtedin for quite a while. Before that, just Sonder and all the, like the different things that I'd already been like into, whatever. Still love Newtedin so much. Anyway, something was like, I want to knit this. And I just picked it up and I just couldn't stop.
Carmen.
Okay. It's not fully done. It's almost there, but I know. See, okay, there you go. You can see the. So I started knitting this, and I couldn't stop knitting it.
Okay, I didn't think I needed this cardigan. Now I need it.
Look at how beautiful this lays. Now
it's lace.
Lies,
whatever. Cables.
It's not lace. It's cables, but it's the cross. So the right cross, left cross, not cabling. Okay. So you do it, you're not doing it in the cables without a cable needle, you do it through the stitch. Yeah. And every time, I don't know what it is, people suggest it. I knew how to do it with the cable, so I would just do a right cross. I would do it as a cable instead of the right cross. But for some reason I'm knitting along and I'm like, I can't show it. But in the chart, she has the cross with the instructions right in the key. So I was like, oh, well, I can do that. And so I did. And then it was so easy. I love these crosses.
Okay, so just for those of you who, I'm like trying to interpret in my head. So those of you who
are
like, what are the crosses and what are the cables?
Okay.
Cables, if you're cabling without a cable needle or if you're cabling with a needle, there's this process of sort of reorienting the stitches, which creates the crossing of stitches, which creates a cable. Then there's left and right cross, which essentially gives you the experience of having crossed stitches, but there's a way of doing it that is about knowing, like working with fronts and backs and like orienting where you go in and knitting into stitches, as opposed to having this process of like, if you're using a cable needle, like putting needles on a cable needle, then like knitting, then knitting off of the cable needle, so on and so forth. So it's easier.
It's way easier,
like
but I rejected it for so long because I knew how to do it I knew how to do the cable. And when you're doing it without a cable needle, you actually like pull your stitches off, you cross them, and then pull them off, like, and re-put them on your needle in the cabling one. Whereas here, you literally knit into a back stitch and then knit into the other stitch and pull them both off at the same time.
Yeah, it's more like a knit front to back to me. Like it's like a version of knit front to back.
Exactly. It was so easy. I was like, why didn't I do this? Although it does, I will say, when you have SSKs and knit two togethers in the same pattern, it's actually really hard because you forget, you have to remember not to knit into the second stitch because they're kind of like SSKs and knit two togethers, but yeah. So,
it's so beautiful.
Can I just say, the fit of this.
I know, I want it.
It is so unique. This is the first Thea Coleman, sorry, I'm probably just stabbing you, pattern I've ever actually knit, but I've loved so many. I have like her new, starts with an S, that green pistachio cabled. God, I can't wait to start that one. But it's, okay, so it's just about construction, and it's not, I don't know how to say it, what you think. Like it's very
the construction is unconventional.
No, not the way that, it was unique. And it's just really beautiful the way that the decreases come in. Sorry, Jackie, I'm totally stabbing you.
I like it.
And you like it? And then up here, there's a really interesting thing that happens across the back too, which I can't really I'm not gonna give away. But it's very different, very, very different. Now, I also just love the fit. I was worried it was going to be way too big.
It's perfectly.
It's so beautiful, and it's a bracelet length. I think it's perfect.
It's perfect.
Now, the button band isn't on yet. So this was my question. I'm like, don't really like,
You
right?
don't need it.
I think I might.
You don't need it.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. And I kind of like the way these bumps.
I was gonna say, what is that, a Pico edge or something?
I know,
like
looks
that?
like a
I
Pico
love
edge.
it. It's so good.
I know. So I'm thinking I might. That means I'm almost done too. Because I just have to finish off just doing the sleeves. I mean, ultimately I feel like I'm gonna do that and see, like, it might be that it doesn't fully stay on. It's kind of slips. Like
Because if you don't have that
button
additional button band.
Yeah. But I'm really, really, really
Oh my God,
happy.
Carmen. Okay, hang on. Where's the picture? So, yeah, let's see. Well, there's a ribbed button band.
Mm-hmm.
The absence of the ribbed button band is the reason that I need that.
There you go.
I think it changes the aesthetic.
Yeah.
I think you and I have talked about like liking cardigans that are not like,
meant to come.
that are not that don't work as pullovers. They just work as cardigans, right? Like
Which is
like
the
they're
whole point
which
of
is
them.
the whole point of them. So oh my God.
I keep getting up and showing, but it was a really, oh yeah, and this is, I have to pull off all the dog hair and stuff, but part of that's also the wool. Just this texture, I was worried, it's so much texture, but with such dark, I was like, is it worth it? Is it worth it? But again, it's one of those things, like, you can see it in person.
I don't know if it's coming across on camera, but in person, it's so clear.
It's so pretty.
It's so pretty.
And it's like black with blue.
The colorway is Omge, O-M-G-E. It's an older colorway, very plump, and just the perfect.
It made a
blue black.
dense. So this is on size 7 needles, so 4.5 millimeters.
Wow.
Yeah, you can feel like, and it's held double, so it's a dense sweater. It's created a very dense sweater. Whoops, sorry. I am thrilled with it, and this is going to be like #1 of a zillion Thea Coolman patterns.
I know, I need to get into it. I love this.
Sayoko, that's the newest one. It's all cabled. Well, she does so many beautiful cables.
Stunning. That one is also on my
I think she called it like a confection of a sweater, and I'm like, that is exactly what it is.
this one.
This one. Yes, those. Yeah, show that one. There, yeah, one of those, whichever.
SAOCO.
Like, it's so good. And it's done, it's interesting, it's done in worsted, but I'm thinking, well, it's that Corey worsted, I think, La Bien Aimée.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about doing the Sonder DK. I feel like that would like be nice.
So it's, I love, you can't be on gauge. Are you on gauge? So the gauge of this, okay, I like detour to talk about gauge and stitch count and stuff. So if I say a pattern is worsted, what's the stitch gauge that you think is, what's the stitch gauge that you're, just like off the top 60? Of your head? Yeah. So I've noticed that there are so many patterns, like this pattern, Andrea Mowry's framed sweater pattern, the new gorgeous mosaic cardigan called the Poly Cardigan by Amy Christopher's Savory Knitting. They're all like, we're using worsted yarn, and I'm like, yay, it's worsted yarn. And then I open the pattern and the stitch gauge is 20.
Yes.
And I'm always like,
it's true.
I feel cheated.
No, because we're like, this is gonna go
because
fast.
It's gonna go fast.
Yeah.
That said, when I look at yours, I would guess you're like 18. Maybe it doesn't look 20. But yeah. what I would say is that I feel like 18 is such a nice gauge for Newton and texture.
It
held
is.
Double. So
this is a bit
it's denser
than normal.
It's denser. But what I'll say, especially about sort of like the newer Newton blends, when I say like newer, I would say the past like 18 months, is that there's something really wonderful that happens to them where if you're knitting them held double on a tighter gauge, like I've often found that as I'm knitting, I'm like, wow, this is tight. But at like post blocking, there's something that happens. And I'm really interested to see how this blocks, because right now it's like, it's reading, like when I look at it, it's like really structured.
Yeah.
And I wonder after you block it,
blocked.
have you steam blocked
yes,
it? Okay.
But that's because she suggested to do that. What did I do?
You knit it bottom up.
I did knit it bottom up, but I'm just wondering why, because I didn't put the button band on. So I think she just said to steam block it before. And yeah, I guess if I was going to put the button block. Or
to pick up the sleeves. Sometimes I steam block before picking up sleeves to go down.
Oh, and up, yeah, you know what? Because there's a cool construction up here where this is actually like added. It's, yeah, can you see?
Yes.
It's really
brilliant.
Even as I was knitting it, I was like, I don't understand what these pieces, like what's going on? And then it was like, whoa. Then it just wraps around your
creating a beautiful neckline. It's okay. I'm protected by wool.
True, but I don't want to catch it and then like give a little like pull.
Stunning.
It's stunning. I am just like really, really happy with how that falls. I think it's a really, really pretty hit.
Again, I'm gonna name that. I think navy is one of your light colors.
I do love navy. I do like navy.
I always think of like that like burgundy, and I often think about like russet brown when I think about you, but navy, you and navy love.
We get along.
Yeah.
Navy is my,
is one of your colors.
I really love navy.
So good.
Thank you.
I'm gonna put that on the wish list of things that you eventually give Jackie.
I already feel like it might not be, and only because I actually see this a staple. It's gonna be like my what's it called that I always wear? My cardi.
Pressed flowers?
Yes, thank you. Yes, I just love it. Like it's just you throw it on. Oh God, it's so pretty. I don't always say this, but look at how gorgeous
this line is. Without the ribbing. Okay, here's what I'm gonna say. It's beautiful with the ribbing. You can see it. I'm not knocking the pattern in any way, shape, or form. But this reads casual.
Yeah.
With like, there's something about, I've noticed this as I've been like looking at cardigans and wanting more cardigans. A ribbed cardigan just reads casual. Nothing wrong with it.
Absolutely.
But like this, not.
Isn't that amazing how it ended up?
It's like garter.
It's you're knitting this, so you knit this with, this is part of the pattern.
Right.
Yeah, so it's a different, like it's got a few things that you do.
The line of it is just so elegant.
It's so pretty, and like the shoulder, like, you know, when you see somebody else wearing it, it's like there's this shoulder line, like
it's not falling off my shoulders at all.
Yeah,
which is something that I think is like one of those cardigan pattern things.
That's my worry, that is it gonna fall over time? But you know what? Whatever.
We'll see.
Oh, it's, you can see it so well. Like I was worried.
I wish that we. There.
Yeah.
There.
Oh,
you can see it, right?
I can see it. I can see it. Oh my God. I love this beautiful sweater.
This is another sweater that I will need the dimensions of, because for me, I feel like it's so perfect.
It really does look beautiful.
So perfect.
It's so beautiful. I'm so happy. And I mean, now that I've gotten the agreement that I don't need to put the button band on, it's gonna be done tonight, probably.
Yeah, just sleep.
I almost had it done for today, but I was like,
oh, it's so good.
It's
so good.
It's so pretty.
I'm
happy with it.
It's really nice. I feel like Newton is my home base, and it's always like I always have Newton on the needles, and I always feel like I'm coming back home to it, you know. And it's like,
yes, and I had a bit of a lengthy hiatus, I have to say, from when I can't remember the last Newton. You, of course, you know.
Harden.
Is that was the last Newton? That was in the winter. So it's been a long time since I've been knitting it. But I'm very happy. Very happy.
Okay. I have one FO and one whip. Do you want to see a whip or an FO?
I want to see what you're holding. Okay. Oh, it's so gorgeous. Oh my God, is that out of what I think it's out of?
Yeah.
I can't wait to knit with this one too. Oh, this is so beautiful. Oh my God. Oh. Yes.
Okay.
Talk. What is this?
Y'all have seen this before. This is Junko Okamoto's Astrid sweater, which is an all over color work thing, and I knit it in a solid color.
Yeah.
Because of this most delectable, delicious, amazing yarn called Vanilla, Phinela, by Hannah of Mindful Folk Farm. It is 60% fin, 40% mohair. We
fell in love just touching it.
Like this was like my Rhinebeck love affair. I encountered lots of beautiful things, but most definitely I fell in love with this yarn.
Yeah.
And Hannah and her whole like thing. So
we were drawn into her. We just found ourselves there. Like, what?
And again, like I love how this was not planned at all, but she is expecting that she's gonna have a mill run of this. I follow her on social media, and she's been talking about having this. She expects that more of this is going to come back from the mill in August. She unfortunately will not be vending at New York Sheep and Wool, which is when I was planning on going and buying basically her entire quantity of it, because if I want a luxurious, beautiful, classic sweater, this is it. Mm-hmm. Like this yarn is it.
Yeah. And you're not holding mohair. Like it's like, because sometimes you can have, like if you're holding mohair with something, it's great, but it twists and blah, 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 like there's management. You're just knitting.
The fabric this makes is unlike anything I've ever knit with. It was a joy to work with. Oh. It's so ridiculously beautiful. I loved it. And then I blocked it and I was just like, oh my God. So I don't know what to say about it except that I adore it. This was very easy, and then a labor of love. So the Astrid pattern is knit top down, and it's sort of a round yoke type situation. Normally there's color work, but I omitted the color work.
I love that idea that you think to do that.
And I did have to do some grading, so I will make a project page for this on Ravelry to say how I did it. Essentially, I find round yokes very easy to grade for a different gauge. So I had to grade it because I wanted to use this yarn and it knit up to a certain thing. And I was like, you don't mess with perfection. So I just need to adjust it. So it came out basically like my gauge is 78% of the pattern gauge.
Gotcha.
So I just like plugged and played on all of the increases. Nice. And because there's no color work, you really like don't have to worry about hitting certain stitch counts. What I will say, if you look at the original Astrid pattern by Junko, these like beautiful sort of cabled sleeves, you can really see it.
I know. It's so beautiful, the stitch definition.
The cabled sleeves, they're actually a balloon, but I was like, I don't think I want the balloon sleeve. I just want it to be like really classic. So what I did is when I split for sleeves, the balloon cable sleeves, there's 3 different charts with 3 different stitch numbers for like the balloony part and then the less balloony part. And so I just split for sleeves and in such a way that I was using the smallest chart. Gotcha. And so there wasn't this need to like increase, decrease, and then just kept it.
Nice.
The 2 sides are not the same because I followed the chart and then I sort of made a little bit of a modification, but I think because it's like dark, this beautiful chocolate, you won't notice the tiny differences. Like I changed up some of the cables just to make my knitting experience a little bit better. Because here's what I'll say, like I don't know why this was so painful for me, but the sleeves were truly like I did not enjoy it so much. I can't explain why because I adore cables. I think
there are twisty cables. They're not like cables that you can read.
You can't read it. Yeah. And it's like so typically when you're knitting cables, you kind of have like your cable row and then a rest row and then your cable row and then the rest row. And you do have this here, a cable row and rest row. But there are so many like little things that you have to keep track of, because if you look at it, like there's this cable part, but there's also this like this garter part, and then there's like twisted rib, and it's kind of like every section. Yeah. Like I was looking at the chart basically not all constantly, but I was like, oh, am I doing this or this right now? Am I doing this or this right now? So like it was just a lot of brain power, whereas I like cables where you like get into a rhythm, and I felt like with this you don't really get into a rhythm because there's like 2 different kinds of cables, and then the cables are also crossing different ways on different rows, and then there's knits and then there's purls, and so it was quite brainy.
That makes sense. It's kind of like color work too, like where she has the motifs that you can't always, like you have to kind of watch each. Like you really can't read. They're not just the obvious ones.
That said, like the product of it is like, now that it's done, I'm like, oh my god, like I'm so glad that I did it, and I think it just gives the sweater that little bit of extra something.
It would be a gorgeous sweater without, but it's a statement with, you know, like, but not so much that it's taking away from anything. Like it still looks incredibly like work appropriate. Classy.
Yes. What I wanted is like a classic sweater. So I love it. The fabric, Carmen, I can't wait until Carmen tries this on, so that she can talk about the fabric. And then the other thing that I want to talk about is like, it's the perfect brown. Hannah talked about the fact that she made this like intentional choice that the fin sheep are chocolate brown, and then she put in like the mohair, which is also from her flock. She chose like a silvery mohair, and I don't know if you can see it on screen, but there's just something about the like richness of the chocolate, but it's also got this like streak of thing.
Silver. Like if you look at it from the side too, you can see that it's almost like just barely.
Really interesting for me because I thought 40% mohair content would create a lot of halo. And it doesn't create like a poofy halo, but you can like feel the mohair. Like, I don't know if you can tell how it moves, the drape of it. It just is amazing.
It really is.
And there was something about it that like, you know, I don't have uneven stitches, but like, you know, there are some people, like I'm thinking about, there are some knitters that I know that you look at their stockinette and it's like as if a machine knit it, like it just is so perfect. And I'm not there. We're not those people, but there's something about this fabric that just like it makes your stitches look amazing. And the cables, I did knit these cables on a US 1.5, and so maybe that's why it like hurt me inside too. I was like, oh my god, I'm still not done yet, but
that would be like
totally worth it.
2.25.
I have no idea.
I bet you
it was small. It was small. It was very toothpicky. I was knitting the sleeves on the plane, and there was a woman who's sitting next to me, and she's like, "You're allowed to bring needles on the plane?" And I was like, "Yes."
These ones maybe not so much. They are a little stabby.
But Junko Okamoto is amazing. She's a genius designer. I'm so happy with this. My only question is, this grew quite a bit in blocking, and I'm wondering whether it looks better shorter.
Oh no, I would leave it like this. I might tuck it in though. I would probably do a half tuck.
Like a French tuck?
Yeah. Or like, just kind of a like, depending on what I'm wearing. Oh no, a little bit less
too high.
Yeah, if you had lower pants maybe.
Like
just
this.
like a,
Yeah, so that's my only question about it.
It does not look too long as it is either. It looks
I think
really
it's just a
comfortable.
Style choice around it. Of me
and we have been doing so many crops, right?
That
so
this feels extra long to me. But
oh my god.
Love the yarn. Think that this yarn would I'm serious. When Hannah releases
the other day,
it's like I just want it, and I think that you could make anything with it. Something with drape, I think will let it shine.
That has been my thing. So I almost picked it up because I've got a couple test knits going on. I'm back in testing.
You're back in testing.
Something happened, and I'm back into it. But this was one I picked up for a recent one I'm gonna do. Actually, I chose our Bow Layers Orchard one instead for this thing.
Oh my god!
But
so beautiful.
I wasn't sure because of the drape, right? Like it's like you really chose. That's a great pattern. It's held me back a little bit of casting on with it because I'm like, I feel like I have to choose the pattern well.
I think you can use it for one. The stitch definition is incredible.
I wasn't sure, right? I didn't know if it would hold, but it's gorgeous. It's beautiful.
Wanna try that?
I must put it on. Let's put it on. I've just been waiting. Chomping at the bit. Oh, I always love though this look. It's like upside down tree to me.
Upside down
green, brown.
Yeah, funny.
All right. How?
Oh, where's the back?
You know me, I always get it wrong.
I don't get it right either.
Looks pretty good. let's do it. Oh, I like this bottom too. Did you do that or did she?
She did it. It's all her. All her. All Junko.
You never know with Jackie though. Always adding her little pieces. Oh, I like it.
Oh, Carmen.
Oh, and you're exactly
Carmen.
right about this feel. It's so light. Oh, it's so pretty. It's so pretty.
Finished bust size was like 48, so quite a lot of positive ease, deep raglan.
Is that her size 2?
Oh,
does it have sizes?
No, so
Yeah,
the
probably
Astrid
not.
is
She
a
often
one
doesn't.
size.
Okay. I'm knitting this color. I'm
The
glad
color.
I have it. I have it.
The color is incredible.
I really like how simple you made this. I just think that's really pretty.
Thank you.
And not like, you know, like a different
The other thing that I'll
Not
say
fun.
about it that I think was like amazing is, you know, with a round yoke, the kinds of increases you sometimes like you'll get like lines of
Yeah.
showing where the increases
Yeah.
are, and I don't see it.
I
I
don't
think
either.
that is a testament to the yarn that it just, I mean, it was gorgeous pre-blocking, but after blocking it just made this beautiful, cohesive, gorgeous fabric. I knit the body on a US size 3. It's technically a sport
Oh.
weight. I
yeah.
just love it. I also love that there are little tweedy bits in it because it
know,
is farm
look.
yarn.
Cute.
But the little tweedy bits to me, to me it like adds interest, and it almost makes it like more luxurious as opposed to like
Yeah.
thinking about like a classic sweater should be like the perfect black sweater, the perfect camel sweater, the perfect gray sweater, but there's
Yes.
something about this that I just like love.
It's amazing because it has a rustic feel, but
feel rustic
not
too?
no, like because of the tweed. So tweed should be kind of rusticy.
Yes.
Not rustic, because of course tweed is like academic, right? So it's not like
Mm-hmm.
rustic, but it has like that element, but it doesn't come across that way. It comes across very elegant, actually.
The mohair, I feel like the mohair creates a sheen that you can't actually, I feel like it glows from within. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I adore this fabric. I adore this yarn. I adore Hannah. Like
I have to knit mine.
you know, I sort of said earlier that the inspiration of my knitting has really like started to lean towards like feeling. This is one that like hits the mark on feeling and also meaning, right? Because of the memory of it, our experience of it, and also just feeling in some way like a part of a movement that is really close to my heart, right? Like farm yarn and supporting someone whose like ethos and way of being in the world is just so aspirational, inspirational. And so like, you know, I put it on and not only does it feel good, and I feel good because it feels good and it looks great. I also, when I wear it, feel like in some way I'm participating in, you know,
really
the
beautiful
world that she's making.
Yes.
And
that's
getting to
right.
feel a little bit a part of that, I think, is also a huge motivation in my knitting, which is maybe why, you know, that's why I worked with Nightshift for so long. That's why we keep working with farm yarns. It's like,
It's true.
there's some, I do think that there's the opportunity to have an extra layer of something inside of your making, if that's accessible to you, if that moves you in some kind of way. It's these pieces that I think stay with me
I agree.
and like stand the test of time, and you know, won't end up in Carmen's closet because, you know.
If I didn't have 4 skeins of this myself,
I know.
I would.
Thankfully, we don't have to do that relationship dance.
We know when we buy wool together that we both have to just get the same wool because we know we're going to want each other's stuff.
And
So
this
we
was
have to
like
get the same.
immediate. Like we both were like, huh, and just
We
like
touched it,
both
we're like,
grabbed it, and we were like,
Dunzo.
Hannah, how many do you have? And I think we like left like 2 skeins. I think we like cleaned
this
her
color
out.
we did. And like, yeah, maybe I have 5.
You
Because I
do
feel
have
like
5.
I have 5.
You were like, you have 5 because you were like, maybe I need a garment
Just in case.
and an accessory just
This
in
is
case.
it. I'm like, what if I need all of the options for this.
This
and
was less than 4 skeins for this.
Oh yeah.
For me.
Beautiful.
I'll put the yardage below.
And I remember being there. There was multiple things happened there where I didn't know who I was talking to, but I didn't realize who she was. I'm like, what is this? What is this farm? I love this, love this. And then I went back to my Instagram. I'm like, I've been following her for like months. Just didn't quite put
So
all
beautiful.
the pieces
And
together.
I think I've been following Hannah on social media and like just like, when can I get more? When can I get more in a, you know, loving way, hopefully. And I haven't actually DM'd her or anything, but I'm just like, when is it happening? And she posted something. She had like made a post, or maybe it was a story where she was like, do people love sport weight yarn? And I was like, yes, we love this, because she carries this in worsted.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I guess traditionally, she mentioned that the worsted like sells better, or like she's had difficulty moving the sport. And I'm like, why? Like, why? I do think that like designers as a general rule there are more designs now that end up with a stitch gauge that you can access with sport. Like in my mind, sport is like, I don't know, 22 is kind of like in my head.
Yeah.
So
But it all depends on the wool.
It all depends on the wool.
Because it's how it fills out.
Yeah, how it blooms. But the sport, I do think I'm excited to work with it in worsted, but I do think that this like fin mohair in sport is just, there's something about it. There's something about it. So Mindful Folk. Is it Mindful Folk? We'll link her below, so that you can follow. She also does the most stunning photography.
Everything about it.
Everything about it.
We just, as we've said this, but for those who don't, or you don't remember every word that we ever say.
If
you haven't memorized
400 hours
of talking, and that this was almost a year ago that we said it, but we ended up in that booth. Like there was just so many booths. We only ended up in two booths altogether. And this was one, and we just like were literally drawn into it. And then we're like, where are we? Oh my god,
we feel so good.
And we're just like, can we just stay here the whole time?
Yeah. And she was there, Hannah, and also with the designer, Alicia Plummer, who's also a joy.
And Alex Bird was there too. That was that story.
I
didn't know.
Oh god, that looks so good on you. The color looks so good on you.
It looks so good. I also so this is some ice water with some lemon, which has been sitting here for the last 2.5 hours. And so what happens is, I guess, condensation comes out around, and now it just spilled all over my dress. So when I stand up, just so you know, that's what it is. Felt like I wanted to clarify that.
Okay.
This is so pretty. Okay. So, anything else?
Like one more thing that I want to show. I have one more whip that I want to show, and we're gonna call this try and guess the pattern that Jackie knit.
Because you've
because
it's so much.
You can't see it.
And yet that's so contrast.
Yes. And yet it is. I'm so happy with it, but I'm bringing it on because it's having this sweater is having a moment. And then the other thing is also because I'm in the process of trying to figure out whether this is going to, whether I am in fact going to finish the sweater.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Any guesses on what I'm talking about? So Carmen and I have been talking about what our Rhinebeck sweaters are going to be. And of course, what is this? Do you know what sweater this is? Guess this.
Look at all the work.
Guess this. What this is.
Well, give them a little better.
Okay.
Like hold it up at least. Wow. Did you change the pattern, like the gauge? No. Okay, maybe it's not even what I think it is. Hold on, can't even see. If you move it, it's so low contrast I lose the thing. Okay, yeah. Wait a second, what is this? Okay. Okay,
this, my friends, is the framed sweater by Andrea Mowry. It's completely
oh my god, of course
unsuitable.
it is. Oh, I was thinking a different one, but yeah, okay, now I see it more. Wow. Wow.
Okay, wait, I gotta tell you, I gotta go
Are you
through
gonna
the
show your
process
sheep
with you.
camp thing? Or no? I feel like this has a sheep camp. Remember with your one where we couldn't even make out?
Oh yeah. No, I don't have that other with the
This is
pattern that Jackie
hilarious.
tried. Hilarious. Okay, so that was my.
You can't even.
You can't see it.
No.
It's You can't see it at all.
It actually looks like it's different.
You actually cannot see it at all.
Patches.
You can't see it at all. I kind of, okay. I mean, of course, I am,
it's pretty.
I love a low contrast.
Yeah.
I actually adore the fabric it has made. I adore what it looks like. I think it's super gorgeous. However, I'm not going to be allowed on the hill with this thing. Well, I will be allowed on the hill, but
people will be like, oh, you're wearing
oh, you
it.
do belong.
Oh,
you do belong.
The whole point of this sweater is this massive framing.
I know. Hey, this is what the sweater is supposed to look like. You can tell, right? It's like it's good, right? It's almost the same.
It's almost the same.
So, Andrea Mowry's
oh my god
sweater.
I actually wasn't even sure. I thought it was even the
tessellated. What do you think?
No, I thought it was. I was trying to figure out the. Oh, it doesn't matter. The Amy Christoffers one. Like it was that unready that I actually.
Oh,
was
the cardigan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That you had turned into a
pullover. No. So.
This is really
okay. We tell the truth here, and Carmen and I, you know, like part of the Rhinebeck experience last year, we did the tessellated, and it was super duper fun to be in the flow of people knitting it. You know, like we knit it with like Lily, and I feel like the exploration of like what are my colors and what am I gonna do, like that whole process of being like part of the movement of the Rhinebeck sweater.
I did like
that was really fun.
Right at the end. Mine was sort of at the end anyway.
But I feel like there was like excitement, right? Like we were in the.
I was excited with you. I was excited watching yours.
Yeah,
and then mine
Lily's,
came at the end.
And like
and
I
Lily's,
also feel like, you know, sending
like
pictures back and forth of being like, oh, this one, oh no, I like that one, and like that sort of communal aspect of it. That. So you know, when Andrea, I love color work. I love a geometrical pattern, and you know. Andrea teased it for a little while, and I was like, oh my god, like I'm so excited. I saw the sleeve, blah blah, and then it comes out, and Carmen and I were like, do we like it?
I know. I feel bad.
Do we like it?
Say that. I don't know.
Like it wasn't an immediate fall in love kind of situation, but on the like in the background is that in one of my like, you know, I have my I don't have a great yarn organization system. I had shelves, but then my yarn exceeded the shelves. And so there's like the yarn that's on the shelves, and then there's, you know, the top part of the shelf that's basically like the table has like just piles of the things that won't fit in the shelves. And so in one of these like pile situations, I saw this color combination together, and I was like, it must be together. Like it absolutely must be together. So this is Newton. It's the colorway Teppa, T-A-P-P-A. I mean, it's like, to me, it's like honeydew with a little bit of peach in it.
That's the thing, because
it's melony.
It looks yellowy to me, but here it has a green, like a pistachio kind of color. So melon, like honeydew.
I had this, and then
so
this
pretty.
is a Merino silk flax braid from Melanie Allaire. I think she calls it Rosewater Latte, but in my head it's Peach Bellini or Peach Champagne Bellini or something like that. And when I saw these two together, I was like, this has to be a color work. Like these are meant to sort of be together. And so I had spun up some of this, I had some of this, and I thought it would be a really nice brioche. So I tried it as a brioche. I tried it as like stripes. Still like it just wasn't it. And then when the framed sweater came out, I thought, I don't think you're gonna be able to see it, but I do think that this is the pattern for them to come together, because I feel like it creates this like barely detectable houndstooth. Like, you know how like a hound,
that is what it feels like. It's just, but it's not consistent. The eye goes, what is happening? Because it's different pieces, different chunks.
So I kind of love it. I know that it's not a framed sweater, and so I feel like, you know, getting this done for Rhinebeck is now like I no longer have that momentum of like wanting it done for Rhinebeck, because it's like not, I feel like, you know,
once
it's
you
there,
have the
but
whole
it's not
thing
there.
Done, it'll look more like it. Once you have the top part that's very framed, you know, like
maybe.
I think so.
But I kind of still love it. like I kind of love it. It's like almost like thinking about it as like leopard print. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's just like it's made this like fabric that I adore. I love how it feels. Again, sensory wise, like one strand of Newton and this merino silk flax, which is also what I used for my handspun in last year's Rhinebeck when we did the tessellated.
Yes.
And I love the fabric that it made. Like I do love the fabric. It's really fun actually to knit.
Yes. And what's the gauge on this one? Like what
Gauge on this is, again, it's like, it's all like we're doing worsted, but it's 20.
Supposed to be worsted, okay. Gotcha.
The stitch is 20 per 4 inches, and I'm pretty sure I'm on gauge. I mean, when I look at it, I'm really excited to have this as a sweater. And I was saying to Carmen that I actually feel like it's made me realize that I don't think I love the actual, like, her frame sweater. Like I won't be knitting the sweater again in a higher contrast version of it because I think I don't love the sweater enough as something that's going to go into my wardrobe that I'm going to wear. I'm super excited, and I'm like following the hashtag and like totally part of the process of seeing other people's framed sweaters show up and loving that. But I think as Andrea designed it, it's not for me. But I feel like it has ended up creating this thing that I'm super happy about. That just isn't the frame sweater, in large part because this color it's one of those Newton colors that I adore so much.
Gorgeous.
I'm trying to like
I really love
give
that.
you the dynamism. It's such a beautiful color. And yet, as I've seen it pop up on people's feeds, as people have been knitting with it, even like Carolyn, who does beautiful photography, the way that the color, the way that it looks knit up, I feel like went really yellow when you couldn't see this like melony thing.
You can see it here.
It's a different color.
Okay. Then, yes.
But like here, I just feel like it's that thing where one thing elevates the other, where I feel like
I do see the greeniness.
There's a green, like it doesn't go into yellow. You actually see the like notes of green that the peach really like highlights it, and I feel like the peach looks really juicy and peachy, so I'm really happy about that. The hem is in a different the hem is in a different colorway, so similar to in her pattern, I've done the hem in Hell, I think is how you say it Swedish, but it's Karl. So in the pattern, the hem and the shoulder detail is one color, and then the main color, and then you're doing the frame part, the quilt squares, in 2. So I'm really happy with how that has come out. But this is a 1000%. I consider this an absolute fail in terms of being able to recognize what the pattern is. But I am really happy about the fabric and the sweater that it's made. I think it will be really beautiful.
When you finish it, I think it will look more like it. I think it will be.
I think it's complete. No, you can't see it at all. It's completely like
it really is.
You can't see it.
You can see that there's some kind of a quiltiness to it. Yes. The problem is that it's the different.
There's not enough contrast.
It doesn't stay consistent enough, so you can't see the pattern because some of it blends in ways because of the peach and the green and all that like overlap in ways.
What it reminds me of is Gaudi, and like Gaudi's mosaic. Gaudi in Barcelona. There's a park.
Guel.
Guell, where he has all of these like mosaic patterns.
It's just they're
are high contrast.
Yeah.
But
yes, it
that
looks like
kind
little,
of like thing,
broken
put back together. Yeah. That's what it looks like to me, which makes me exceedingly. Maybe you could. Yeah, no, you can't see it, but
you can kind of see it.
But just like it's so funny because I'm knitting it and it's given me joy because Andrea Mowry is a joy bite. And also like just the feeling like, oh, I'm knitting the frame sweater has like given me more joy. And you can still end up with something beautiful even when it like looks nothing like the pattern. I think I still feel happy about the choice that I made. Like I feel like this pattern has done this combination justice.
Yeah.
and it's like more about this color play than it is about the actual pattern itself.
That makes sense.
We'll see. Plus the fabric that this makes.
It is really ridiculous.
Again and again, I cannot.
It's really
so light.
It's
so cohesive and so beautiful. I'm really excited about it. But the real kicker for me when I'm like, okay, this is gonna go on the back burner for a while. The real kicker for me was when you start talking about seasons, and I'm like, I'm not gonna want to, even if you could really see it, like by the time we get to Rhinebeck, this is not the color that I'm gonna be wanting to wear.
Yeah.
I will wear this very happily when the spring hits and I need like a sweater to throw on.
Spring sweater. Yes.
Yeah.
It's very, very pretty.
It's like an optical illusion. I'm like, if I look at it, I feel a little bit
like a little
confused.
Yeah.
Don't look.
That's what I
don't
like,
look at it too long and then try and grab the car. Like,
I think when you were moving it too before, I was like, I need to look at it. What's happening? It just keeps moving. I can't make sense of it.
Should I continue it? Do you think I should?
Yeah.
I think I will.
We all know she's continuing it. Plus, it's only devoting about like 5 hours time. The way you go.
No, we're at the part that I whine about every single time, which is when I have to go knit color work flat. Yeah, it's stranded color work.
Well,
stranded color work, knit flat.
Yeah, mosaic.
But it's not that much if you look at the pattern.
Right, because a lot of the top
part is like the classic Andrea Mowry, sort of her Weekender series ribbing, which again is one of those design features that like I think is beautiful, but also creates a really nice fit for a sweater because the ribbing sort of like wraps around your shoulders. So
it's gonna be gorgeous.
So this was my Rhinebeck audition that is not gonna make it through to Rhinebeck. I mean, maybe it will. Who knows?
Just like me. Maybe I'm wearing my like,
Stria.
My Stria with my like summer colors, and maybe you're wearing this.
Yeah. But actually, what I believe is likely going to be our Rhinebeck sweater, maybe.
Maybe, but I've changed something. I think I'm
Have you?
Something else.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Is this one.
We love this.
Is the Amy Christopher's new pattern called the Poly.
It's so pretty.
Another mosaic.
See, this is my concern. We talked about it. Like, do I need this sweater because of my pressed flowers?
You don't. That's the sweater.
It's going to be very
so
similar,
gorgeous.
but it is so pretty. It's so pretty.
Like I can be
so gorgeous.
Dream knitting this forever and ever.
Yeah.
I think for me, there's no question in my mind that this is getting knit for me because I knit a pressed flowers cardigan, also by Amy Christopher's, in Newton and Handspun. I love it. It's this like lavender, white, green sort of thing, but it's really summery.
Yes.
And what I realized is the cardigan is like I wear it at the very, very beginning of spring. It's way too hot to wear in the summer. And then by the time I get to like fall times, the palette is very springy, summery. Yeah. And so I want that.
You need a fall. That's why I'm like, mine is saddle. Like it's a saddle color with with fall. It's
blue,
just fall.
Chocolate. It's so perfect.
I love that sweater. I feel like that's the thing. I'm like, I don't know if I can.
Yeah, I don't know if you can top that
and
sweater.
Then would I like wear both of them? Maybe I would.
Don't know. But what I love about, there's a couple things that I love about this cardigan that I think is so clever. One is like the motif is really beautiful. It is like allowing me to play with handspun and think about handspun. What's different about this and the pressed flowers is two things like that I noticed. One is that instead of a rib, she gives like this dark one has a ribbed button band. Yeah. But in the pattern, she actually has a double knit
I like the
button band, which I think looks amazing.
Yeah.
I also love that the color work doesn't go all the way up to the top. Like you and I had a conversation about how you're like, I like that the pressed flowers is like a whole thing. But I think for me, I think having that little, just the little detail on the bottom is really nice. And again, there's something about, it's a raglan fit instead of a drop shoulder fit. So the pressed flowers is a drop shoulder. And this one is a raglan.
Okay, that would be different.
And so I'm interested in that. I also just love mosaic knitting.
I do not love mosaic.
Yeah, you don't love mosaic knitting, whereas I love mosaic knitting. And then Young Folk Knits. she's doing like a mosaic knit along.
Oh.
So like any mosaic knitting pattern. So
Oh,
I'm
good.
like, okay,
I'm
like
doing
all
that.
of these options, this is definitely going on the needles. So I think that's going to be my Rhinebeck sweater. I really want this as my contrast color, but I was like, is this too summery? I think it's a bit too summery.
Given what we just talked about.
But is it still too summery? I think so. Yeah. But
I think so. I think if you're looking to make sure you don't end up in the same situation, and
I need to go more
just
fall.
had this,
Yeah.
and you have it with your other pressed flowers, like I think
I need to go more fall.
Yeah.
I feel like, what did I bring? It's like, maybe I didn't bring it. Oh well. There is one colorwork sweater that is, I feel like my pièce de résistance in terms of color pairings, and it was my Rhinebeck sweater last year, my sheep camp sweater.
Oh yeah. That was
was, you know, I think the best color combination that I've ever made. The turkey.
I'll never forget it. You can go back. Actually, you can find that little clip on my Instagram.
Yeah, Carmen reel out
her
husband
called
it the turkey
said
sweater.
she looked like a turkey.
It looked like a turkey.
I'm confused. I was a little perplexed.
Where is it? Where's the turkey?
Oh yeah.
Okay, well here's Carmen's wearing it here.
Yeah, it's not wanting to go that way.
This is the.
I could get some music too.
Won't focus. Why can't I get it to focus? Anyways, that's the color combination, which I could very easily replicate. And so it's this question of like, do I make a cardigan in a very similar color story as something that I've already done?
Totally possible because it's a cardigan.
Because it's a cardigan.
Yeah.
Or do I need to come up with some other color story?
I think that if you had it if you start right now that you're just going to do that one, you're going to miss all the fun that you have of the dream knitting.
It's
so
true.
You may end up with that, but you're not going to start there. You need to dream knit.
Because
I'm going to get a lot of different color combinations in my DMs from Jackie. Like, what do you think?
Braid.
That's gorgeous.
It's a little bit different.
Yeah, that would be.
I have this beautiful braid from Bramble Ridge. It's How Nui.
Oh,
and I'm like,
see, with Dirty Weekend. Yeah, that.
I'm really like, I'm like, okay, if I have to let go of this.
Like Christmas, like there's like that could even, it's not just fall.
It's like wintry.
Wintry too.
I'm like, it's really
You're gonna love that.
But this is my like top contender right now.
Right. Because it would be, this is pretty close too.
Yeah.
Oh right, but that is actually Dirty Weekend.
This one's actually Dirty Weekend from Sonder Yarn. So that's, I don't know.
I think that.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. If you have ideas.
Is it called Grandpa something?
It's called someone's grandpa.
grandpa.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so, it's so good.
Oh, that's so good.
I think I have just enough, like I'll be like playing yarn chicken on this in terms of spinning this for the contrast color. But my only,
if you have to change
not
it,
like a hesitation, but like, I think it looks really gorgeous. I wonder whether I'm gonna lose some of the beautiful color, like whether it's too low contrast, that I'm gonna lose some of the nuances of this color.
I feel like if you can do the color management well, it would be better to have longer color
repeats. Yeah.
So that you can get a sense of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and when I look at this, I think the color repeats are pretty fast.
They can, but maybe you can play with how you split it?
Split it and spin it, yeah.
Talk to Megan, right? I'm blanking. I was like blanking on her name. Yeah. She's a master at this stuff.
Yeah, she is a master at this
Even
stuff.
if you had actually this with another thing.
Like a combo spin.
Yeah, and then that would stretch it out for you longer too, because I think what you want are these to last a little longer.
Yeah, it's like it's like kind of like I was talking about with the traveler hoodies, like I want it to come out exactly like this. Yeah. Like I want the colors to be like this on the sweater.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've done enough spinning to recognize that unless I like split, which some people do, they like break up the braid and they like put together all the different colors, which I just know myself well enough to know that I'm not going to take that apart and have like little pals and tufts.
You apply it two-ply with a totally different color.
It's like I want the sweater to look exactly like this, and I know that the braid won't come out like this. Otherwise, I probably would already have done it.
Right.
So
I think you should talk to her.
We shall see. And here's the other thing. Megan also is about to drop a whole new collection called the Scotland collection.
Oh,
so Megan,
no! Why are you telling me this?
So Megan
I can't resist.
lived in Scotland, recently went to Scotland. I'm going to be in Scotland. And so there's a part of me that's like, okay, can I spin and knit my Rhinebeck sweater in 3 weeks so that like it is my Scotland sweater that I like wait for, spin and knit, and it's mosaic and it's a 20 stitch gauge. Like it's going to be tight even for me. And I think I won't have fun because I'll be like stress knitting, like you stress knit your tessellated vest. But what do you think? What contrast colors would you do for this if not the Dirty Weekend? Because I did also, I'm in a purple phase. I did also look at this and I'm like, I don't know why I think this looks so good together.
It does, but that's...
It's not fall. Like I've killed the fall.
Yeah.
But
it's
like
just very
independently.
light.
Yes. I'm like, this could be a cinnabar shawl though.
Okay.
Imagine a cinnabar.
Beautiful. But I did see a gray. I could see a gray with that.
Like a dark gray?
Mm-hmm.
We're like looking around being like, do we have any?
Don't have any gray.
Yeah, like a slate dark gray.
Yeah.
But then again, I
You'd
want this. I would do like there's a little blob of gray right
almost
there.
Have to be, it would have to be a...
But then I think again we're gonna run into Jackie's low contrast.
I know, I am thinking
Palooza
that.
already. So what would
Contrast
you do?
Palooza.
What would you do? Oh my god, when I look at it like this, I'm like, what am I even debating?
Maybe. It's do this. Like, give me a break. It'd be amazing. And it'll be that color sweater. These just feel like, in my...
Feel fall.
They feel fall, but they're also neutrals in this funny way that they can go with anything. Like,
it's
no
like
matter
leather.
what...
It's leather colored.
It's leather colored, exactly. Yeah. No matter what color you're wearing on your bottom, like, or any other part, it just goes. Yeah. Like a purse that goes with everything.
Oh. Okay, so your Rhinebeck sweater, is currently in.
I'm debating. Well, I'm not completely debating. So maybe you can look up. So this one I'm allowed to share.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're thinking about doing a test knit for your Rhinebeck sweater.
I am, because I am doing a test knit, and it feels like such a Rhinebeck sweater to me. And the irony is that I was thinking about. I'll have to talk about that.
Okay.
But it's Lavagna Patricella.
I love this sweater. I know exactly what you're talking about.
What I am in. I just saw that and I was like, yep.
This one, right?
No.
Not this one.
No, it's the test. It's up here. Oops, there we go.
Oh, Carmen.
Oh,
Carmen.
Right?
Done.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm like,
is it worsted?
I think it's mosaic. No, it's sport.
It's sport.
So it's dyed in the... So I have some dyed in the wool, funny enough. Dyed in the wool. Spin cycle.
Yeah.
Dyed in the wool that I haven't... It's called Cold Comfort. This was one I was considering. And it looks a lot like this. And I have these pink and peach. I was like, I could do that as my main color. And so I was laughing when I looked at yours. I'm like, it looks just like what I was considering doing, but it wouldn't necessarily come out.
So gorgeous.
So I'm figuring that out. But that's what I think I'll do. Because it has the same feel, right? I think it's... Yeah. Is it mosaic? I can't even remember.
It is...
I haven't started it yet.
This is... I looked at this. I looked at this cowl. So it is mosaic, but I would say it's mosaic plus something. Like it's a specific
with
stitch.
With a different stitch. Because it looks like it's got like a honeycomb kind of...
Yeah, it's a mosaic knit. Like, so typically mosaic is like you're knitting and slipping or purling and slipping, whereas this stitch pattern, because I bought a cowl, she has a cowl in that stitch pattern, I bought it. It's mosaic knitting, but you're also reordering stitches.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
which creates this like really beautiful thing. My other Rhinebeck sweater contender is also a Lavagna Patricella. I tried to knit that. That's so funny. I didn't know. I tried to knit that with this and it didn't work at all.
No.
Because the contrast
You
wasn't
would
high
not
enough.
see
You couldn't see anything.
No.
But
It's so pretty. She's so like she's just so beautiful in every way. But I have also I've knit one pattern by her, but I have a million of them in my queue.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited by this.
She's like brioche queen in my head.
Yeah.
She's a brioche
totally.
queen.
But yeah, the one funny enough, the thing I'm knitting is not even brioche, but I'm excited by it.
Oh my god.
So yeah, so it'll be a sport weight and then sport weight.
Wait.
Mm-hmm. You'd have to get on the test.
Oh,
it's in the
that's
test.
Right.
We're doing it right now.
I'm not going to get into the test.
Well, but yeah. So that's what I'm going to cast on very soon. Now that a lot of these things, and I have another test.
That's also
I'm doing another test.
Rhinebeck sweater.
Well, I'll wear it. It's it's super cool. I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
That's the one I cast on, and that's the Beaulaire or Orchard one.
Oh my god, that Beaulaire.
I have just like, and then I have this other test that I finished too that I can't talk about for a while. I am just test.
You test. You're back in the.
I know. I get in these like phases.
Yeah.
I really like it. I like that community. Oh, and I have another one. Another test also.
4 test knits.
4 test knits.
Yeah.
When I do things, I do.
Yeah, it's true. We don't do anything halfway.
No.
We do everything like 4 times.
But I do like that if this is my Rhinebeck, I'm excited because it's like, then I'll actually have it done.
It's true. It's true.
And now I'm okay if I'm not allowed on the hill. Because I did the hill last year. Remember, that's why I had to finish the tessellated.
Oh, that's
I really
right.
wanted to be on the hill with Andrea Mowry.
And also, you know, as I talk about it, like the hill was wonderful. There were a lot of people on the hill who were not like.
I didn't really know what the hill meant.
Yeah,
now
I
know
also
I can
kind of
be on
thought.
the hill.
Yeah,
So
everybody's on the hill. There's just this like, there's this process of, do you want a picture of you with? Do you want to get in line to get a picture of you with Andrea Mowry wearing her Rhinebeck sweater?
Right.
That you actually have need to get the program. We were like, nah. And the joy of seeing all of, I think there is something though about seeing the sweater on mass on everybody really cool. That's like super exciting.
I'm totally gonna go show up and see it.
Yeah, like we'll be on the hill.
Well, you'll be wearing it, so I'll be with you. Renegade. Wearing something else. They're gonna think we're both not supposed to be there.
Interloper. But I think it was so funny because when I think about our hill experience and sort of being there, I think I sort of imagined when we went on the hill that we would be scoping out everybody's and like having conversations, having conversations with people about the sweater.
Yeah.
But like there were literally so many people.
Yeah.
And we were also meeting so many of you.
Right.
That
and we were trying not to slide down the hill because it was
really muddy.
Right. Literally, they're like, I don't know if I can get any footing.
But like there was it was interesting because I found that we had more conversations about our non-Rhinebeck knits,
yes,
like
it was almost future knitting and other like knitting. Well, yeah.
Yeah, like we didn't have that much interactive dialogue about our tessellated sweaters.
Right.
There was something about being like, wow, like look at all the tessellated together that I think again the framed like with hundreds of people is going to be just a sight to behold.
Beautiful. Yes.
But like my need to participate in that is basically like 0.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel like I'm
happy
I want to witness it more than anything else.
I don't need to be a part of it.
I don't need to be a part of it.
And you're right, because I think what often sparks conversation is when you actually meet somebody and they're wearing something different from you.
Yes.
Like you don't, like, there could be a bit of like, oh, you made this too, but then it's kind of like we both know what that was like.
It's like all of that is happening before.
Yes. Right.
Like it really is like the knit along.
Absolutely.
Is more of the sort of communal Rhinebeck sweater experience happens before Rhinebeck.
That's
for me.
True. I agree. Which
I think is something worth, for those of you who are sitting here being like, well, I don't live in a place, I'm not somewhere where I can go to Rhinebeck. Like I do the Rhinebeck sweater thing anyways, because I really feel like most of it is like pre-Rhinebeck happening.
I agree.
As opposed to at Rhinebeck happening. At least for us, when we were at Rhinebeck, I mean, we were definitely inspired by all of the sweaters, but I think because we knit it, we were kind of like done. And so you're getting inspired about sweaters that you haven't knit yet.
Exactly.
It's like other
and
stuff.
Maybe also because I hated the knitting of it, I was never making another. So I could see these beautiful things and be like, that's so gorgeous.
Yeah,
but
there's no potential. There's no
never,
potential to
ever.
participate in it further. So, nope. All right,
Okay.
we're complete.
Yeah.
We're complete?
Thanks.
Yeah.
Look, 2:58. We came under time.
Did it.
Oh, no, we'll talk about this sooner. You were gonna say when we're gonna talk, because I was just thinking with Rhinebeck and the Hill, maybe we'll figure out a time that we'll be on the hill.
We'll be on the hill.
Because then we can just chat with people.
Yeah,
That would be fun.
that would be very fun.
Our own thing.
We want to know what you're knitting.
Yeah, always.
Like, let us know. I'm also like, if you have pattern suggestions for patterns where, like always sort of hand spun patterns, but also patterns that you love knitting where it's like more than 2 colors of color work, like 3 color work, 4 color work, kind of like with the the shift. I'm having a lot of fun playing with like multiple colors in a thing. I would love to hear about that. Or what have you decided on your Rhinebeck sweater?
Yeah.
What are you knitting? Like, we're still in contention.
Totally.
Who knows?
I mean, there's multiple days.
There are multiple days. Yeah, let us know what's on your needles. Do you feel like fall is in the air? Because like, are you still in summer?
Just starting. It's just starting where I feel the feeling of it. I was still in summer because of this.
Yeah. I'm like ready.
But I'm ready to start with fall.
Ready.
I'm moving into fall.
Like I feel like the whisper of fall is here in like the mornings and the evenings, which is
Yes,
like my absolute favorite. And I'm like,
so
okay,
amazing
I'm done.
You're still in August. It's gone.
It's off camera, but I gave it a good chuck.
You really did.
That was really We're ready.
Oh,
We're ready.
Look how cute this is. West Coast color.
Look
Look at
at
their
beautiful.
But look at
The label.
this.
One. I mean, this needs to be something. It needs to be something at some time. I just don't know
Mr. Ms. Reliable.
Yeah, 100% Target. Isn't this stunning?
It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful and needs to be done, but is too springy for what you're looking for.
I do feel like it needs to be done like
It
this.
should be done with that.
Right?
That is, yeah. I mean, she already put it in. You know, she's got
like
kind
a
of
little
elements
bits
of
of
that in
rust.
there. Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's so beautiful. But you're right. It's like my shoot camp sweater that I knit in summer colors and don't wear as much because.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think you still should knit it. It's just that you shouldn't knit it now for Rhinebeck.
Yeah.
Because you might.
Yeah.
Well, folks, I know everybody says we love you, you know, like, but we really do love you. Like, thank you for all of I said it earlier, but thank you for all the interaction that you give and your comments and just enthusiasm. It makes us like just feel so good, you know, and we've talked about it before that it feels like we are talking right to you. Like, it's my phone, but it's not, we're literally talking in advance to you hearing this tonight, you know, or whenever you watch it. So thank you. And any little feedback you give us really does get taken in, because we put it all out there, right? And unless we hear back from you, we don't actually know, except for when we meet people. So not that you have to, totally fine if you just want to watch and not comment, because I'm horrible at that. Funny enough, I have a YouTube channel, and yet when I watch others, I almost never comment. But we do love it.
But whether you comment or not, it's like we really do feel the exchange, and I feel like we feel so inspired.
Yes. We do.
After this, and I've been on I feel a little bit because I've been like working and traveling and just the nature, like I haven't been on social, I haven't been like engaged in content, and in the days leading up to this, I was like, I just know the like rush of inspiration and that like momentum and the excitement of knitting is like coming, and like that we get like, of course it's because we get to hang out together and talk about it, but also there is like, I feel the slipping into the stream of like this community that we love so much.
We feel it. You can't describe it, but we feel your energy. Yeah.
So
and you know what, there is something also like I don't know if liminal is the word I want to use, but like this structure that these give. Like I am now, it's like, oh, we've done our episode and now there's the next. Like now I cast on and I start for the next thing. Yeah. Which is really, really cool. And if you guys weren't doing, watching or anything, like we wouldn't have that. So just wanted to say
and it's like we've talked about, like, you were on our needles all of the time. Like it was like I used to be predominantly excited about showing Carmen things, you know, and like I'm like, oh my god, I can't like wait. And now it's like that, you know, like gajillion fold to get to share our experiences with you. So thank you for hanging out with us for as long as you've hung out with us, for giving us all of your time and your attention.
Yes.
And please, if you feel so inspired, if there's something that you're doing, knitting, excited about, that you want to share with somebody else, share with us, share it in the comments. We always tell people, like we always say, like, also go in the comments.
Or another one is Instagram. So we put our Instagram, if you are on Instagram, we put our links there. And that's also like, if you ever just want to like DM tag, tagging. I love that.
I love when
it's
we
like
get tagged on things.
We really are part of it. And like I get this vicarious rush, like
the thrill of when like we see that you have knit something in like a yarn that we have also knit in, or like a pattern that we were talking about, or a pattern that we knit. Like there's that's the joy of this community, and we're so grateful for you, and we're so excited that we're so excited to be here. I think the thing I'm most excited about, actually thinking about getting to go to New York Sheep and Wool again, is like I'm just so excited to have the opportunity to like be in community with you all again. So
with those of you who are
able to make it, and you know, we're just gonna slowly reorganize our lives so that we can be at like all the festivals, so that we need to go to the UK. Flock, we need to go. The UK, we need to go. Flock looks gorgeous. I'm trying to decide if I can make it for the Scottish yarn. I'm gonna be in Scotland this year, but
when is it?
September. It's good if I can make it. I'm gonna be in Scotland.
I see what you're saying.
We'd have to do like a Mondo drive though. We're like up in the northwestern side. We're like at the very tip of the Isle of Skye, and Perth is like down here. So we're trying to figure out like if we can make it there. For any of you who have been to the Scottish Yarn Festival, who are going to the Scottish Yarn Festival, like if I show up at the Scottish Yarn Festival at 1 p.m, would that be worth it?
I feel like I should answer yes.
Yes?
Wouldn't it?
I don't know. I don't know. So remember, I mean, when we were at Knit City in Toronto, I felt like the event was there was a time where it felt like the event was almost done. And so what I'm trying to figure out with like the Scottish Yarn Festival is like it's a one-day event. And so it's like, if we got up really early in the morning and did a marathon drive, I could probably get there by like 11 or 12, but I don't really want to do that to myself or my husband if it's like basically wrapped up by then. Do you know what I mean? Because it would be the Saturday. I think it actually I don't know, I think it's like Friday, Saturday, or maybe Friday's workshops and like Saturday is the thing. But yeah, if you know like what's the like rhythm around it, if it's still like happening and robust and that kind of thing, then that would definitely like give me more inspiration just to ask my husband to do that. And if you've ever been before, I'd love to hear about your experiences around that festival. Gosh, I definitely don't need more yarn. Oh well.
We love you guys.
We love you. We'll see you soon.
Yep.